Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final race of the Winter Duck Derby 2021. My name is Sir Linkalot. I am joined in the booth by Groggy Dog. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm really excited to be here for the final night of the Duck Derby. We have some incredible runners on stream here on RPG Limit Break, and
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting race. We actually have the first, second, third, and fifth place currently in the standings when it comes to who's going to be crowned the next Duckling Supreme. It should be an interesting time. There's a good chance that Dead Pulse is going to go away with this one. He's won all three of the races so far, so he has a very sizable lead on second place. But, you know, Rando, maybe something terrible happens to him in the seat and he does come in. I believe he has to take 27th or 28th place, and Fryteeth has to win. So if Fryteeth doesn't win, that's pretty much it for that, as long as Dead Pulse doesn't, forfeit or do something like that, which I don't think I've ever seen him forfeit before, so I don't think we have to worry too much about that.
Yeah, well, as our restreamer Dark Moon was saying before the broadcast went live, mathematically possible, but still fairly improbable. We are joined here tonight by Dark Moon, as always on Restream, and Sunflash Rune Tracking. Thank you both for helping out as well. Let's talk a little bit about the flags tonight. So we're seeing a lighter version of the last year's spring tournament flag. It's going to be pretty easy across the board in terms of complexity. We're going to see, of course, the usual magic and spike tile shuffles, but we're also going to see two loose items. We've got 19 locations incentivized and 21 items. We've got Ice Cave, Ordeals, Marsh Cave, Titan Strove, and Canaria locked. And then we're going to give our runners the Vorpal and Power Gauntlet, aka the Bonk, in that shuffle. We're not going to have any forced classes. We're going to have early open progression on, all the early items on. So the only thing the runners really need to look out for is that 200% scaling. Which, not so horrible. They're going to get blurshed weapons and armor. You might see a plus or minus number on your screen in front of weapons or armor. That is part of the blurshed, aka blessed and cursed flag set. But really, this is just a very bread and butter kind of randomizer seed. How quickly can you get to where you need to go? What choices do you make in terms of chest density, what you're checking, who you fight first, who you fight last, and what party comp are you bringing? And I think we see a pretty good spread of party comps. The flag set's definitely lending themselves a little bit to black belt strats with the 2.3 times experience boost plus 5 per key item. And we do see 3 black belts on the board, plus a smattering of red, black, and white mages, plus 1 fighter here, and a red, black, black. And Gregory Puff in chat, one of the Duckling commandants here, and Sir Linkalot and myself won our own Duck Derbies. I was in the second one, and Sir Linkalot the third one.
Yeah, I get to pass the crown off at the end of the night. I get an hour and a half maybe of holding the crown as Duckling Supreme, but it's going to be handed off to one of the runners that's on screen right now when we're finished with this.
Yeah, and I think this crop of ducks is easily the best that we've had. With all due respect to the folks that we ran with, and never have we had such a stacked lineup, but also just in sheer number, and someone like Dead Pulse taking first 3 times in a row. But we are off to the races as our runners are getting started. So let's check. We're going to get some good magic to start. White Mage is really going to like the exit in slot 2. That is Red Wizard learnable, but nice to have right away. Plus the heal 3, of course. And then that Quad X is going to be the spell I think most runners focus on in the black magic. Going to be really useful for Garland. Can't imagine Garland is going to roll above the 300 HP range for Quad X. Going to get a look at the item shop. Heals, Cabins, Piers, Soft. Nothing too interesting. And so we're going to see our runners save up and go hit Garland.
Yeah, and as far as that, the Garland can't even roll above the 300 threshold. I think 216 is the highest he can roll. I believe his base HP is 108, if I'm not mistaken. And as far as exit, that's actually the slot 2. That's sadly the Red Wizard. That's the lock slot. The Red Wizard will never learn exit. So
that's right. Fourth slot is the Red Wizard. See, man, I always forget that. That's why I have to write these things down on a post-it note every time I run. Now we see Fryteeth entering Temple of Fiends first. Like I said, we do have 2 loose items, 19 locations and 21 items, and so we are going to see our runners checking, if not every chest, then certainly the vast majority of chests in the early game. Although they're going to make some decisions, here after the first few locations. This one, pretty much once you get through Provoker, you've got to start making some decisions. But garbage in the Topher chests, so Fryteeth is going to reset out. We're going to get our first look at Garland.
Yeah, and something I saw in the weapon shop, I believe Rob Draven was the only one to check this because, he really is the only class that's reliant on a weapon. There was a silver +4 sword in there. And, it's not the greatest weapon in the world, but that sword, if you start finding a bunch of like, negatives on the end game weaponry, silver +4 is still going to swing for a lot of damage, especially if you just want to pick it up early for 800 gold. That's going to carry you for a good portion of the game until you find, potentially something like Vorpal, Masa, get the promotion and get Excal.
Yeah, absolutely. And from Princess Sarah and the King, we're going to get the Canal and the Canoe, which is a particularly brutal kind of thing to get here. That's going to open up the entire inner sea for you. You now have to contend not just with the pirates and Marsh Cave and Northwest Castle, but also Crescent Lake, Ice Cave, Volcano. This is just double the number of choices that our runners have to make, and it can be pretty serious. I think we learned a lot in the spring tournament last year about those sort of early marsh dives just to see if they pay off. I think that may be heightened with the exit. Obviously, marsh is not incentivized. It's not going to be a place our runners need to or necessarily will want to go to. Marsh Cave is incentivized. Marsh Lock is not incentivized. But Ice Cave is also incentivized, and so they're going to have to make a choice. Do I want to tackle Ice Cave early? If so, where do I get the levels for it? But I think, since Marsh Cave is incentivized, it makes sense to, even without the ship, because you've got the canoe, you can use the open progression that we've got to make your way slowly around the inner sea, past Dwarf Cave and past Northwest Castle.
Yeah, and kind of the scary thing with the two loose, they can technically roll anywhere in the game outside of Topher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, it's not the highest chance, but it is possible that one of those incentive items we need rolls key locked, and you go clear all the marsh, don't find anything, and if you don't have the key, that might be one of the last places you check, and it's somebody who waits on marsh because of how dangerous it potentially can be. They might get that critical key item if it does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Deadpool's making a good check, going towards Matoya, not because he has the crystal, but because there are 3 chests there that may have money items or even a loose that you need. Now, for those black belts, a silver helmet and a rune sword aren't going to do too much, but 2,800 gold is nothing to shake stick at this early in the game. That'll get you easily through Provoke and Intel from a little bit, which they're going to need. So it's a decent starting place. And as we go into Provoke, we're going to start to get an eye on what magic is here. Nothing doing there. I saw a Harm 4 and a soft, or a Harm 4 and a Ruse, I think. Now, Warp there in Black Magic plus Fire 3 is pretty good. We're going to see an emphasis on that for Ice Cave. If you never played the Randomizer in the original game, you couldn't use the Warp spell in Ice Cave. But in the Randomizer, there's a little trick where you will be able to drop down a floor, kind of bypass pretty much the entirety of the Ice Cave, and with the exit spell, if our runners have it, they'll be able to hop up and save a massive amount of time. Gregory Puff asked in chat, what are the places the current runners? Now, Greg is chiding us. We did say that at the top of the hour, if he had been listening. First, second, third, and fifth. Deadpoolson first, Guardy Marcus in second, Brighty in third, Rob Draven in fifth. Again, extreme talent here tonight and shaping up for an incredible on-stream run.
And we get our first kill of Vicky, and we get the ruby, so something to keep in mind, because that's 2 incentive items once we get the ship, since we already have the canal, or if we find the floater as well, we wouldn't even need the ship if we end up fighting the floater first, but we'll see which one happens. That's kind of one of the dangerous things when it comes to a loose item. If the ship is loose, the ship and the floater is loose, and say ship's in Volcano, floater's sitting in Ice Cave, you check the armory of Volcano and end up finding the ship, you might just leave and be like, hey, that opens up so much, I'm leaving this area and I'm not checking anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of avoid ice, maybe only check the incentive box, and then you end up having to try to look for that floater.
Yeah, absolutely. It has the potential to be a pretty brutal play. We'll see. Got some cheap tents. I think our runner's probably going to stock up on that as best as possible. Especially with runners of this caliber, I think we can expect to see some RNG manipulation on the overworld. Just, identifying how quickly they can get across the map, saving often, and Deadpool's making a real galaxy brain play, gonna ignore the inner sea, the west side of the inner sea entirely, and it goes straight to Ice Cave. Deadpulse does have the Black Belt Rainbow, so he has access both to Warp and to exit right now, which again gonna make any ice cave trips very quick. But he's not gonna go there just yet. Instead, I think he's making a gamble that Crescent Lake is gonna have something very important. Volcano is not incentivized, so he's not going to get anything by going down there. But Crescent Lake is free. You don't have to do anything to get to the sages there. Normally, you'd have to kill Lich over in the Earth Cave, but you don't have to do that this time. So we're going to see, maybe this is Floater, and Dead Pulse has just opened up a massive lead, if so. But it's a big if. We're probably going to see him hit Ice Cave on the way back.
Yeah, I might even hop in Volcano just to check that first floor with the dense armory. Maybe you find one of your loose or just some critical equipment, maybe a ribbon, something to make everything safe. But that item shop's not selling too much. It's just a chime shop, but you're not going to complain because that is one item that you do need to complete this seed.
Yeah, and it's information too. 16k is not a lot. You can get back there, and sure enough, we're going to get the ship. Now, the tricky bit of this randomizer is that ship is not going to go to the nearest available port. I believe from Crescent Lake, it's going to show up in Provoca. Is that right, or is it Elfland?
I want to say Provoca, but no, it is Elfland because it goes based on if no progression is turned on. So because normally you can't get to Crescent Lake because the river system stops you from doing that. It should appear in Elfland.
Deadpool's going to head right there. Teeth, meanwhile, hopping into Dwarf, checking those two chests really quickly. Not going to find much, but it's going to find a lot of money. So no items, but 28,000 gold is going to really help him stock up at Elfland, both spells, essentially armor and weapons, if he needs them. One thing we're going to be looking for in this flag set is the gold bracelet. Gold bracelet, especially if it rolls positive on the Blurst, is going to be the kind of item that you easily get to endgame with. Certainly for your casters, potentially even your black belt if it's rolling high enough. We're going to see Black Magic Shop fast, Zap Lit 3 all looking decent there. Fast is very important. Going to have plenty of charges of that for your black belts. Fighters, Deadpool's going to save, go and hop in that ship and get out. Probably get to go turn into Ruby. Life 2, Cure 4. So that Cure 4 is going to be locked, but Life 2 is available to Red Mages right away, and that Cure 4 is available to White Mages right away. We are getting some really good magic in terms of general party utility to start the game off.
Yeah, the level 4 white, not so good, and we'll see. I've got Ice 3 and we've got Cake as well.
It's an expensive Ice 3 too.
Yeah, it's actually more than vanilla because that's normally it's 4,000 per spell. They want a little bit more for that one because they're losing a lot of money on the other 3 spells.
Yeah, offset a little bit by fairly cheap houses at 600 gold. That's not so bad, but when you've got Fire 3 and Lightning 3, I think Ice 3 for that much is a pretty easy pass, at least at the moment.
Yeah, unless you just have a huge amount of money to spend it on, because Ice 3 is
–
outside of Nuke. Technically Ice 3s actually can do the most damage of any sweeper in the game if something is weak to the ice element, but chances are Nuke's still going to be your go-to sweeper if you find it low level. We still haven't seen it, so we'll see maybe if it's level 5, because once you get past that, kind of don't really care so much about it. It'd be nice to have, but you're not worried about it.
Yeah, Teeth, worth noting, did see, I think, a Pro Ring +2 in the Elfland Armor Shop. Meanwhile, Dead Pulse upper left is going to go ahead and hop into and then hop out of the Titan's Trove location. The reason he's doing that is just in case there's nothing down here of use. He can, although Titans is incentivized, but just in case something he doesn't want, he can back out, or he can just go ahead and exit out. It's going to be the tail. It is going to be less important for him. He's already got the full gamut of magic covered, got pretty much all the spells he's going to want right away, so he's silver +3 there in the Crescent Lake Armory. But tail could be important later on. We got a nuke there in Crescent Lake Black Magic too.
That's not the worst one, depending on how you take your Black Mage. I mean, Cast of Nuke are still Cast of Nuke.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Black Mage is done with locking, tempering, fasting, like, hey, I've got enough. It doesn't hurt to throw a nuke out to help you without that random 100 to 400 damage on a fiend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially with Topher like this, what you're going to be hoping for is just to get those nukes off, to get you through things faster, and then rely on fast and temper if you have it, to get your Black Belt or Fighter up. Deadbolt's going to find the Rod there in Sarda, and I think you have a bit of a decision right now. What do you think about going to Earth while you're here? Obviously, there are going to be a bunch of loose chests that you can go. It is going to be quite slow. What are your thoughts on tackling that right away?
Honestly, I would check what the spike tiles are, because the nice thing is Fire 3 is your level 2 sweeper. If you can get to Lich, I mean, Fire 3 does wonders on Lich. So it's just getting to Lich with enough charges, but if you check those spike tiles and find a nice easy spike tiles and maybe just get you some safety levels to where you have more charge and can just get through the dungeon, that's a fiend down. Plus, like you said, it's the decent amount of chests inside of Earth that you can also check for that loose item.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna be interesting to see how far Dead Pulse goes if he decides to go in at all. Earth not incentivized, none of the fiend dungeons are, so there's no use in going all the way down. But yeah, like you said, he might just check out and see what spike tiles are, and it looks like he's going down there, so let's take a look. Thanks again to everybody joining us in chat. I see a few notable faces in here. Welcome Spellzap, welcome Violet Weavile, I think. Yeah, Deadpool's gonna go ahead and straight up to this chest room. Check the spike tile right after checking the chest, I imagine. Yeah, wood +3 helmet. And Frost Wolf and Frost Giant tile that he is going to reset out of immediately. Guardian Marcus lower left, along with Fried Teeth upper right, going to check out Marsh. We have a few chests in the top that the runners are going to check, and then they'll head towards the bottom for a few more chest checks. And
okay, so I'm not sure if they just really hit that black belt hard or if they had Death Touch, but the Cobras basically one-shot the black belt, and they're unrunnable, so that might be something to keep an eye on, is unrunnable, potentially Death Touch in here. That makes Earth Cave a lot more dangerous.
Earth Cave's always going to have something particularly nasty like that. You know, just in terms of, I think Jet and I were talking about it a couple weeks ago, you know, Earth Cave is more likely to have large packs, and with the skill and spells randomized for enemies, you're more likely to get something that is potentially quite devastating just because of sheer numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the last track we had in the last Duckling Derby, we ended up having ambushing Gurogers that loved casting Nuke on first turn, and they just loved being in Earth Cave, so that was a fun thing. So I guess their fun thing to deal with is unrunnable Cobras.
Yeah. Guardian Marcus, Dead Pulse did find a katana +4. I can't imagine many people, if any, are running Thebes in this flag set, so I think what we're going to see is that is a very nice way to make some money in the early game.
If you are running a Thief, though, with that early tail, and you get the airship, you're promoting quickly, and that's the weapon that'll carry you through the rest of the game without problems.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the question. Someone might be running a fighter thief, like red-black or something like that, in which case early promotion would absolutely be a thing you want to do. Obviously, if you are running a black belt, you don't want to promote right away. The black belt has higher MDef growth per level than the master does. So you kind of want to wait until you're pretty much done grinding before you promote on your black belt. I think the only reason you promote early on a black belt is if you have a dire need of it on your but with the magic we've got, I don't see any runners with black belts making that promote early.
Yeah, which, speaking of grind tiles, because it is something you're technically really looking for if you bring a black belt, we've got one of the best grind tiles in the game with the Agamas here at the bottom of Marsh. Sadly, it is the bottom of Marsh, which can be dangerous to even get to begin with.
Yeah, let alone getting out. It's not something that you have any assurance of doing. So not giving just a ton of XP either. Obviously, you can knock out the rest of your party members and then try and walk without the black belt. I imagine they're going to find a better tile. Hopefully, for their sake, they do. Gonna find the TNT as well. So we've got another trip to make here in the Inner Sea, not too far away from Marsh Cave, to check out what the TNT. See a black shirt there, I think, for in the upper right, and Marsh. So that is a very useful item. That's a sweeper spell, fire 2, plus great armor, some good resists for the black mage.
And something maybe to keep in mind, it would be interesting to see maybe if one of the runners try to take advantage of this in Marsh. I'm not sure specifically which monster in Marsh did it, and if it was a skill, spell, or touch, but they were getting petrified in Marsh. Now, if you could do the grind on the Agama with your white mage stoned or petrified, then just use a soft to get them and exit out, which makes that grind, a little bit more dangerous to get to, because then you also have to, manipulate the stone. But if that does happen and you get that, it's a lot safer to get out too.
Yeah. Now, to quote the Black Eyed Peas, Dead Pulse is 3008, while all the other runners are so 2008. He has already hit Ordeals. I didn't even notice him sailing that way, but he is headed there with an early warp. He's going to be able to make decent time on that. I am fascinated to see what he gets. Meanwhile, Guardian Mark is finding something very important. He's gotten the key from TNT, which opens up a whole host of chests. Not going to find any loose items there. Going to find some decent money in the area that's normally locked there in Dwarf Cave. But he's going to be very important. That potentially, you think about going back down to Marsh Locked just in case. I think it is totally fair not to, but you open up a few things. Grind tiles in Northwest Castle, plus a few chests, and then a few more chests and grind tiles in Temple of Fiends, and then of course 4 chests there in Elf Castle, plus all of the ones in Canary Loft, which of course is an incentivized location. So we're going to see him go there first, I think, wisely, to see what's there, and we're about to see from Dead Pulse as well what's incentivized in Ordeals.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that came from the TNT, which we found at the bottom of Marsh, so it's like there's no chance of having that key before you even check bottom of Marsh, but it's one of those things you try to avoid Marsh, and it ends up turning into the key, which is another required item. So it'll be interesting to see how long Dead Pulse puts that off, because he skipped Marsh. He does get the loot, which is another very required item. We need that to get into Temple of Fiends returned.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the item he was hoping for. He probably was hoping that he's making a big brain play and going to be rewarded with the floater. And while, of course, like I said, you have to have the loot to finish the game. It's very important. He's hoping for any advantage that he can get. And, worst case scenario for Dead Pulse right now is that, the sort of more standard path is going to be the one that rewards our runners. Now, we have... I hear you taking a sharp intake of breath as we see what's on Guardian Marcus's stream. You want to tell us a little bit about what we see here?
Yeah, so we found the other grind that is typically extremely amazing. It's just usually it's in the bottom of ice, which is terrible to even get to, then get out. It's better than the Gamma, and this one ends up being in the Temple of Fiends, which means, hey, you found your grind. Have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, this feels like a no-brainer. At least start off with. We'll kind of see what the XP scaling looks like. Yeah, 1000 is pretty good. It's not going to be the quickest grind in the world, but with this scaling, I think that's a perfectly fine one to settle on, but you're going to want to Dan your mages sooner rather than later. Frighteeth show what's in Northwest Castle, and it's not much. Nothing that really inspires awe in the same way that the Eye or even the Agama does. And we're going to find an X-Cal +5 as well. Great news for Rob Draven, not as much for our Black Belt wielding friends. That's not going to be able to be wielded by anyone but the Knight.
Well, the one thing, and this was the one other thing that Dead Pulse found that will really help him out potentially as well if he finds those eyes next, there was a Masa in Ordeals. So it is very nice to get that Black Belt grind kind of a lot quicker to get it set up for the solo. You can kill off the rest of your mages early to get, and then just start swinging that Masa with the Black Belt until it finally is just going to punch harder than the Masa. The worst part about where the Masa was, and especially the XCal 2, if Rob Draven finds it, and we're going to see what we can do about getting his stream back, is the fact that those weapons are on the way. Ordeals is required. You're not going to skip those chests, chances are. Since you have to walk right by them anyways, and that's kind of the big thing. And it's something I'm going to ask the runners when we get them in, hopefully for interviews at the end. What made them decide to take a Black Belt? Because with those 2 loose items, if you don't find them early, you have to check a lot of boxes, which is time you have to spend that you're finding gear that you can't use, that the Knight is going to be able to use. So you still have to grind at that point. So you're going to still have to spend that time that the Knight or Night parties or Ninja parties aren't going to have to spend. So you're kind of still checking all the boxes without really gaining anything compared to where the Knight or Ninja parties would.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It does surprise me a little bit that we saw so many Black Belts. Certainly in this kind of flag set, my comfort level would be Fighter Rainbow, just because, again, you are checking so many chests. You're going to find the things that you need for that fighter. I think, in my mind, you bring fight a rainbow and then aim to kill one of the mages soon and then grind up a 3-man party for it. That was a pretty common strategy for me last year during the spring tournament, and it usually worked to great effect. It gives you some flexibility. Again, you're almost guaranteed to get the kind of equipment and levels that you need just from walking around checking chests. But yeah, again, Deadpulse has shown that he knows exactly what he's doing. You don't finish first 3 times on X. And so there's either a comfort level or just in his own practice finding that, yeah, you know what, Black Belt works way better on this, just given the scaling of the final bosses and the XP scaling that they're given.
Yeah, that's kind of another thing, is like the scaling on the bosses is 50 to 200 on stats and 80 to 200 on HP. So it's not a huge amount of things. So it's like when we see the Black Belts grind, it'll be kind of interesting to see how high we see them take the Black Belts. So they're going to take it all the way to 42 just to be safe, to where it's like, hey, if anything kills my mages, nothing is stopping me in Topher. I just need to get to Topher. Is that I'm going to just stop at 32, because with Fast and Tempers, assuming you have both of them, that's more than enough for my Black Belt.
Yeah, worth noting something I didn't remark on earlier. We do see a gold +1 bracelet there in Crescent Lake, as Deadpulse finds our first loose item, the Adamant, in the Volcano Armory room. So that's going to be big. He's going to heal up, check the spike tile here in the last 2 chests, but that is a huge find for Deadpulse.
Unrunnable Frost Dragons as well, so that's actually not a terrible tile. They did not roll with basically any health, dying to Fire 3. That's a good tile to basically kind of get your levels you need on your party, and then at that point it's like, hey, let me kill my mages off, go find that grind tile for my Black Belt.
Yeah, they've definitely got options here, which is nice. It's interesting to see which they all kind of stick with and how they approach it, and also when they approach these grinds. I think Deadpulse, curious to see if he's going to take his luck. No, he likes that tile too. He's going to go ahead and stick there for a little bit, probably grind up. I don't think this is going to be his permanent grind spot, but I think he likes this for now. Get enough levels to take out carry and then move on.
Yeah, I would say if maybe you have like a mage staff or something to where you might be able to bring them the Black Belt, but
wonders
with
so Frost D's have both Crack and Nuke. It turns out that is not a particularly great place to grind, huh?
So that's probably something we need to keep in mind as well, because Frost Dragons exist inside Topher. They're also unrunnable. Nuke really doesn't care what your levels are. Nuke does Nuke things.
That is... Yeah, I mean, like, you're kind of happy to see that, but... just because, like, that they're not going to be on any other enemies then, but, oh, God, that's yeah, to think that that's going to be your grind tile, and then just to be so rudely slapped in the face. Yeah, I think, Ice Cave could be a real swingy place for runners, as Greg is saying. Depending on how you're manipulating the RNG table, you may not... It's entirely possible you don't run into any Frost Dragons while you're here. With Warp and Exit, a lot of runners will be able to get in and out extremely fast. But that also potentially depends on you having both loose first and not even check any chests, which I don't think is going to be the case for a lot of these runners, given that we're still looking for the floater. So I think, yeah, it's going to come down to luck. Maybe some runners just won't see any Frost Dragons. Maybe some won't, like Deadpulse didn't the first time, see those Crack and Nuke spells. But maybe some runners are going to reset 3 or 4 times out of Ice Cave because they keep it nice dragons that wipe them on the first turn.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things. If you're doing this off the hard reset and you see that Frost Dragon encounter, you're like, okay, not doing this off the hard reset, or I'm going to need to, manipulate the encounters to where I don't get that encounter anymore and avoid them entirely.
Alright, so Fry Teeth headed to Ordeals as well. Gonna find the crown there. There's that warp trick in Ice Cave. And Deadpulse not gonna exit out and save. Instead, gonna go ahead and fight through our Red D there. Not a bad tile at all. Thank you again to our restreamer Darkmoon, doing his best to wrangle technology for 4 streamers, plus all of us. So thank you for your work. Thank you as well to Sunflash for doing a great job tracking. I appreciate both of y'all. 3 mages there. There's a lot of... that's not bad kind of grind tiles, but I really haven't seen anything that makes me just, like, jump up and yell, like, yes, this is the one, this is the one. I would love to see Whizvamp. I would love to see, I don't even know at this point. Whizvamp would be the one I'm hoping for with the early Fire 3.
Yeah, I mean, really the only kind of grind we've seen, and again, you're not really going to be jumping up and down for joy with it right now because it's so early. You're not getting a lot of experience from it. Is that single eye? That's more your, I'm going to do this when I'm ready to basically go into the game, and I'm just rushing through it at that point to kill the fiends, go through Topher, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Fried Teeth picks up the Mass Immune there on the lower left of Ordeals, just like you're saying. Gonna get the gong. Why is that not the loot on Fried Teeth?
So it is a fun little flag we have. It is in the fun percentage, multi-instrument Sarah. There's a list of, I want to say it's like 50 to 60 different instruments. There's things like the gong, organs. There's all sorts of fun little instruments that, Sarah maybe just doesn't like playing the lute. She, was a rebellious teenager when her father told her, hey, you need to learn how to play this lute. Like, no, I'm going to play the organ instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Haiku is my favorite one to get. Yeah, one of the many fun percent flags that you can find as part of Final Fantasy Randomizer. Got a fantastic dev team and community who suggests things like this, so fun little thing to do.
Just don't ask us how the Party of Light Warriors is carrying an organ throughout the world, please, because I still haven't figured that one out.
Very strong, very strong. So about the half-hour mark, I want to welcome again everyone to joining the final week of the Duckling Derby race. We have the first, second, third, and fifth place runners on stream to close out this wonderful tournament that has been months of preparation and 4 weeks now of races. So you are getting the best of the best here in the finale. So welcome to RPG Limit Break. Thanks for joining us for the Final Fantasy Randomizer as we see 3 runners in Ice Cave, and Fried Teeth going to go ahead and buy the chime there in Crescent Lakes. We are steadily making progress. Have one loose item, found the adamant in Volcano Armory, but still looking for both the floater and that second loose item, plus a smattering of other required items like the Oxyale.
So I'm not sure if Dead Pulse went off a hard reset or not, but considering his pathing, he pretty much wasn't wasting any steps at all, and we did see the White Dragon fight as well as on Guardian Marcus' side. We ended up seeing one as well. Guardian Marcus, I still don't think knows about Kraken Nuke, so hopefully he doesn't see it again and gets out before that happens to him.
Yeah. Interestingly, Deadpool's not going to check the final spike tile there in Ice. I thought he might have, since he was just a few steps away, gone to see it, but at least for the moment, we won't know what's on that. Could be something real nice. Could be nothing.
I don't necessarily blame him, knowing how dangerous the White Dragons are. You really don't want to risk taking those steps and then accidentally, he got turn order and they didn't do anything to him.
Yeah.
But, the next time, you might not be so lucky and one of those dragons just I'm opening with Nuke, goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, so far, pretty uneventful Ice Cave for all of our runners, given that we had 3 in there, didn't see a single wipe 2 Ice Dragons. Not a bad deal, all things told. We're going to see 2 of our runners leaving. Guardian Marcus and Dead Pulse heading out. Where do you think they're going to go to next?
I feel like Dead Pulse, I guess he's, skipping Volcano right now. I'm kind of surprised to see him do that. Or maybe I guess he's going to go in first and then do it. But I kind of feel like this is your best time to do Volcano right now, other than when you find the floater. But there's still a lot of items that you have, or your chest that you haven't checked down there. Even he didn't clear out the armory floor. That's one of those things with looted items. It's kind of like skip the chest at your own peril, because it's like that one chest that you're like, I'm not checking that because it's out of the way. That's got your loose item. It's something you kind of have to keep an eye on, and if you're getting down to the wire, you still haven't found that loose item. It's like, what chest did I go and skip?
Yeah, I agree. That's a little surprising to me. I feel like they've got the levels, they've got the items where this shouldn't be too much of an issue. They've got an early heal 3 plus warp and exit, just in case something goes bad. I'll admit I'm a little surprised that they're not tackling Volcano here. Dead Pulse is going to Marsh Cave, I think. Check that out before it does whatever is next. We're running out of places to check though. Ice Cave, Ordeals, Marsh Cave, Titan's Trove, Canary Lock, those are incentive locations. They've all kind of been knocked off. Oh right, we got the crown, gonna get the Oxyale, so now we really are just looking for the floater, but we also know that the floater is required because Northern Docks is not on, so we're still waiting to find the floater, which means that probably gonna be loose, or well no, it has to be loose somewhere in Volcano or Earth now.
It could be the adamant turn-in potentially, because we have yet to see.
That's right. Yeah, thank you. I forgot that we haven't seen the adamant yet. Yeah, Dead Pulse found the adamant loose in Volcano. We haven't seen that turn in. So if the adamant does not turn at the floater, then we know the floater is loose somewhere in Earth or Volcano.
Or it's possible that we find one of the fetch. I think Crystal might be the only fetch quest we have left still.
That's horrible. Right, yeah, and it could be behind the crystal, but I think whatever, we need the second loose is going to lead us to Floater. I don't think that we're forgetting anything. We can't park at the docks below Onrak because it doesn't exist. We don't have the flag turned on for it, I don't believe. Let me double check to make sure that I am not forgetting. Yeah, the only progression flag that we have turned on is early open progression, which affects the sea. So both Mirage Tower and Waterfall and Sea Shrine are out of the question. So Dead Pulse thinking maybe I'm gonna get this in Marsh, but we know, I think the only places left at this point are Earth and Volcano.
Which, actually, thinking about it, we know where Oxtail is, we know where Chime is, we know where Cube is, we already have the rod for most of our runners except Guardian Marcus. We have the loot, we have the key. We're technically in no mode. We know where every critical item is except the floater. We're just waiting for floater for, go mode, or no mode for us, because I don't think the only runner actually is Fryteeth. Fryteeth is floater away from go mode right now. He already has Chime, has Cube, has Rod, has his key, has his loot. So that's all he's missing right now is that floater wherever it's hiding. And there's the best chance right now is, somewhere in Volcano. We've fully cleared ice.
Yeah.
I think the only other place that we haven't checked outside of Volcano, like you said, it could be in Earth, or it could be in those locked chests in Marsh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we haven't checked those either. Obviously, lower probability there, but still very possible. It'll be interesting to see if, maybe Fryteeth makes the play to go visit Volcano. And maybe that's the difference. Still a lot that could happen. Deadpool's going to get the bad news that after having just visited Dwarf Cave, he's going to have to go back. Obviously, it's not going to take so long. He's got a few chests to check, and then he can just exit out. But the frustration, I'm sure, when you were hoping to, quad-peat your first place.
Yeah, it looks like with how he just rearranged his party, he's thinking about taking that grind on the end of Gamma. So we'll see if maybe he's just, I'm going to take things while I'm here, and hopefully they kill off some of my mages so I can start doing that. But, I don't blame him. You got a black belt wielding the Masa. They're going to die. It's just that idea. You got to get out still.
All right, I think the issue Deadpulse may run into now is that is there anything here in Marsh that's going to kill him fast enough to make that Agama grind viable?
This is the fight that I saw the Stone Touch. I don't know, or the Stones. I don't know who did it, so if it wasn't the Crawl at this point, which it doesn't matter because everything's dead, so we won't see that, but that was the encounter I was seeing the Light Warriors getting petrified on.
And sure enough, Fryteeth going into Volcano. We'll see if he makes a full clear, if he's just going to check the first floor. Checking the first floor, especially Armory, definitely, a popular play, but I think it would behoove him, obviously knowing what we know, to do the full clear, because odds are that the floater we need, or at least the items that are going to get us to the floater that we need, are here in Volcano somewhere. And yeah, Fryteeth making some of these awkward, winding checks, this certainly suggests that he's going to go full clear Volcano here.
Yeah, and right now we're kind of seeing Rob Draven, which I like this right now. He found the eye that's giving him a decent amount of experience to where he's kind of getting just the basic. I mean, he's actually going a little bit higher potentially than I might think, because you're kind of going into that point where if you're taking these levels, you're losing the charges of magic on your knight. And if I'm not mistaken, that knight will be able to learn life too. So that's kind of potentially like your get out of jail free card in case the worst happens in Topher.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he doesn't want to get too high. He may just be excited, about that. Maybe he doesn't even plan on promoting, depending on the spells he's got. He's got access to life 2, obviously missing Cure 4 right now, but he's just gonna not promote. I think, depending on what he finds, it's definitely gonna be in his interest to promote tonight. But we'll see. Mux given Fryteeth a hard time. What happened up there?
I don't know. They had something nasty.
He is a little bit lower in levels than I think I realized. That 3,300 put his black belt or black mage up to level 12. So he may not do a full dive. He's gonna find something. He's gonna bypass Armory. Remember that the Armory is there, and then head there. But he is a little low level to be trying a Volcano.
Yeah, and Guardian Marcus finally picking up that rod. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to, while he's in the area, he doesn't really have many areas himself. It would be interesting to see if he makes the Earth dive right now.
welcome to Cheesinator in chat. One of our long-standing community members didn't know that we were also on RPG Limit Break. Yeah, we've got folks on Speed Gaming, Randomania, and RPG Limit Break. We have, good lord, what, 38 runners in total? So yeah, we have 3 broadcasts going every week. But again, we have the first, second, third, and fifth place runners on stream here. We've got 2 former Duck Supremes calling the action. So in my humble opinion, why would you bother going anywhere else?
I don't know.
I can't. I feel bad saying that. There are awesome runners on the other streams too. Go check them out. They're nice people.
Oh yeah,
I can't. I can't. I feel horrible. This is obviously the highest stakes one, but every single duck in this tournament is leaps and bounds above where I was when I had spent that much time in. So they are all absolutely worth your attention and time.
See how slowly that Agama's, whittling down the light warriors on Dead Pulse's side, so we'll see how high he decides to take that black belt once the white mage gets taken out.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be one hit from the black belt down, so, or at least soon enough it will be. Yeah, I mean that cremate certainly helping out to do a decent amount of damage, and sure enough, down goes that white mage. We're gonna see Guardian Marcus tackling Earth Cave, so we're gonna find out very quickly where our loose floater is as we get both Volcano and Earth Cave on our screen while Deadpulse finishes up that grind and Rob Draven does some shopping.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of one of those things.
Ooh.
This is where the danger is.
Ooh! Guardian Marcus finds defense +5 and a ribbon there in that second level of Earth Cave. Potentially going to be a huge thing. I think we're going to see a lot of runners make their way there as they do full clears. But if the second loose item is in Volcano, that may be a room that other runners don't go to. That's a huge score. But yeah, that's defense 5 is potentially an endgame weapon if you need it. Obviously not going to be an issue for Guardian Marcus's party, but the ruse spell that it casts plus that ribbon is huge for him going into the endgame.
I was going to say between Prorin, ribbon didn't roll down. The gold bracelet rolled up. If you take that black belt to 32 and just run them with the equipment and the gear, like that black belt with the defense can get his evade up outside of, nasty spells or, skills, could probably easily get through Topher on his own.
Yeah. Frighteeth gonna clench a little bit, hit that Frost Dragon spike tile and make it through, and Guardian Marcus is the winner here. We found a ribbon in Volcano as well on Frighteeth's screen, but Guardian Marcus finds the crystal. It's now a question of how much does he check now, and does the crystal lead to herb and then floater, or is it just going to give us the floater? It could be either.
Did you see what else he got out of that room?
Oh no, I missed that. I got so distracted by Frighteeth. What else did he get?
He got the white shirt out of that room as well.
Decent. This seed has been fairly generous with equipment, both weapons and armor, in terms of what's available in shops and what's available in fairly accessible loose boxes. Mass Immune, Excal 5, Defense 5, 2 ribbons that we've seen in very close by rooms. Yeah, this seed is not making our runners work for it too hard. Guardian Marcus, I don't think has been to Volcano Armory, so doesn't have that second loose item. Yeah, I don't see the adamant on his screen, thanks again to our tracker, Sunflash Rune. So yeah, he's going to keep checking. That's going to be a pretty significant time loss, unfortunately. But who knows? It may still, if he gets through Earth Cave fast enough and then onto the crystal, that still be a fine investment.
I was going to say, I feel like, if, like you said, crystal's got to turn into the herb or the floater at this point. Chances are, after he does that, floater gets it, you're at Volcano, he's probably going into Volcano. He'll check that, he'll get that second loose, and then at that point, if he goes and turns the adamant in, he'll be, or not the adamant, he needs to go and turn the TNT in. No, he did that. Loot was in Ice Cave.
Loot right? Was Ordeals.
Oh yeah, Ordeal. So he needs to do Ordeal still, but outside of that, it's like you have the floater, you're right next to Volcano, you're going to go get that second one, and it would not surprise him when he does that if he just outright stops checking.
Yeah, I think the worst... Ooh, gonna get away. Thankfully does have Life 2 available on our Red Mage. That was a little scary there. Those Frost enemies today really giving our runners a hard time. But yeah, I think worst case scenario for Guardian Marcus is that he goes somewhere else other than Volcano after he gets the floater. If he goes straight to Volcano, he's very much still in this, but there's always that horrible chance that having, access to the whole map is going to be the thing that puts him behind where our other runners went straight to Volcano, the other loose.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes into Volcano, I feel like he's in a really good spot because he's gonna find that, and then he knows I just need to check incentivized. Well, none of your Fiend dungeons are incentivized, so at that point, what does he have? He's pretty much checked everything in the lower continent, really, at that point. So it's just like I have to go check Waterfall, which will probably be the first check because it's easier to get to, and then really it's at Ordeals or any of the fetch quests you have access to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean I would not blame him at all for not going to Ordeals first. That's a play I would make fairly frequently. Like if I've got to go to Ordeals as it is, then I might as well hit Waterfall on the way and just hope that I don't have to do Ordeals. So I bet we'd see him last location. I say that, but probably gonna get. I guess the slab would be from Waterfall.
Yeah, or Bottle, and then
Bottle,
we have fetch quests. We pretty much all the fetch quests. The items we need. I think they have to lead to Power Bonk.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a big fetch quest chain to the Power Bonk at this point.
Yeah. Second loose is. Yeah, that's right. Adamant leads to Vorpal. Yeah, so second loose is not required for this.
Yeah, I mean, if you promote, it's a nice weapon for your Red Wizard to swing, but you also have the Masa that, nobody's going to be swinging.
Ice +1, Sun -2, all sorts of really good weapons. I mean, like, at this scaling, Ice +1 is totally fine. Deal by you can absolutely get away with it.
Yeah, question in chat from Gregory Puff. How many on stream have found Earth loose? Only Guardian Marcus has. I believe Dead Pulse was the only one to actually go into the very first floor of Earth, but then he's like, nope, I'm not going any deeper right now, I'm leaving. Guardian Marcus pretty much checked almost everything else outside of Volcano, and it was just like, hey, I'm here, I can kill Lich, let me clear the dungeon because maybe my loose is here, and well, here's one of the looses he's looking for. He still needs the loose adamant to at least find it and kind of check off, okay, I can stop checking boxes now.
Yeah. As Dead Pulse heads out after finishing his grind, casting that black shirt to help him on the way out, Guardian Marcus is going to pull up Lich, and I think be potentially our first on-screen Fiend kill. No, Farteeth got carry. Farteeth got carry. This is number 2. Couple fire 3s, some punches, and down goes Lich. Nothing doing. Not too bad, just like you expect.
Yeah, kind of one of the things that I'd almost be worried about, like if I was running a black belt party, is the fact that the gear I found is basically everything I need for a night.
Mm-hmm.
If you find those 2 loose, it's like, they don't have to stop to grind. They might do it to get some quick levels, but Dead Pulse hasn't found the eyes. He did his grind on the Agama, so he probably won't even find the eyes. He might feel terrible if he does check those boxes. I doubt he will check those boxes at this point, but he might feel terrible when he does that, if he sees that, because like, oh my god, this was so much easier to get to, it's worth so much more experience, and yeah, he might feel a little bit behind when that happens if he does see those. Whereas Rob Draven with that night, he kind of did his grind, like probably not too worried about those spells and just like, I'm going, like I've got equipment, he's missing, he's got the Masa, so it's like I don't need anything, I just need to at this point find the floater.
Yeah, and I think the threshold for Rob Draven for leveling is lower than it is for anyone else. He could, and we get floater straight away from Matoya, so there you go. Guardian Marcus is very nearly in go mode, while we are now in no mode. But yeah, Rob Draven, I think he could get away mid to high 20s, no problem. I think you're going to see pretty much... I would be shocked if we see any of the black belts on this stream go less than 32.
Yeah, I would be really shocked to see him go less than that. The biggest thing is I think the only really critical spell we're missing right now is on Black Magic side. We don't have Temper yet. Yeah. And that's if one of the Fiends ends up rolling high Absorb, because they can roll anywhere up to 200%, that might be an issue if you try to go and they're just thinking, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go off the Masa. Hopefully it carries me through, and then you all of a sudden get to Kraken 2 or Tia 2 or Chaos and just see 5 hits for 5 damage. You're like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and we did see Lock 2 in Crescent Lake. I can't remember if we've seen Lock in any of the Black Magic stores up to this point. It might be hiding away either in Gaia, Lefane, or Onrak. but we do have Lock 2 to help out in that case. But yeah, I think that's sort of your last piece that you may need. At this scaling, it's less likely that it becomes an issue, especially with the items we have available for the fighter. But you never know.
Yeah, we don't. So we'll kind of see where our runners are going, because we see Fryteeth, with that key kind of, I guess, making that gamble. It's like, hey, I'm going to go check these boxes for maybe this is where it is. He also might be thinking about the grind himself, looking at how he's got his party set up. He also has that black belt in the final position.
Yeah, absolutely. Guardian Marcus going through the inner sea, going to pass by Crescent Lake and go ahead and get that floater. Good knowledge of the inner sea canoe routes. Rob Draven moments away from getting the loose adamant. And Deadpulse gonna go check out some chests in Topher and find the eye grind, and perhaps wonder if the Agaba grind was his best option.
Yeah, and commenting about Cheese about it being early for no mode, I think the biggest thing that kind of made it to where we had an early no mode is the fact that we got kind of all of our required items off of incentive locations, and our other loose ended up being the floater. When you turn Northern Docks off and floaters you're loose, I mean, you get to skip pretty much the 2 dungeons with the most chests, and you just to get to go kill Kraken and kill Tia. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I feel like it's a lot earlier of a no mode than what we might be used to with something like these plays, is just how everything kind of landed.
Yeah, sort of the trade-off of it's early for no mode, a little late for a floater, but Guardian Marcus making a very heads-up play that he's about to discover loot here in Ordeals, and that's going to leave Guardian Marcus with what, just the chime?
Which is in the item shop, unless maybe we just missed it potentially, which, it does happen. We're human, so it's possible he has chime. We'll have to see if we see his item shop, if we see it. But yeah, at that point, I think he hasn't done a grind yet, if I'm not mistaken, so he still needs to get some levels.
Yeah, I think that'll be the next thing. Pick one of the grind tiles that he's seen and go for it. Yeah, we'll have to try and see if we can get an item, or look at his item screen when he next opens it up.
Which I'm guessing will be when we leave Ordeals.
Deadpulse heading to Northwest Castle. I'm not going to find anything there. See how long it takes him to get to Earth Cave and find what he needs. Rob Draven, meanwhile, steps away from that loose adamant. Gonna find the white detail that he knows is bad business already, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many... I don't think any of our runners have actually really seen the new crack except Deadpulse, when he tries, hey, this is a good kind of... I'm going to kill a couple of these to get my levels up and maybe go kill Carrie, and White Dragons were like, no, not happening. Yeah.
So all of our on-stream runners have one loose, and now we are just waiting on everybody but Marcus to get that loose crystal in Earth Cave. Deadpulse gonna go check those 4 hidden chests in key-locked Elfland. Ice +2 shield, not bad. Guardian Marcus very happy to find the Mass Immune before he does the grind. And Fryteeth doing a similar grind on the Agama with his black belt.
Mass Immune is definitely one of those items that you want to find it before you do your grind, because you find, if you're still checking boxes as a, with a black belt party, and you find the Masa and it was somewhere easy to get to, and you had to spend a little bit more time to kind of get your grind going, it feels really bad.
Deadpulse, unfortunately, as we know, going the wrong way. Gonna try and check out Volcano and see if he can find the loose item he needs there. He's gonna find some decent items along the way. Again, we found ribbon, a handful of other things. I'm sort of blanking now, but he'll be somewhat rewarded for his journey, but not with the item that he really.
Yeah, I think ribbon was actually the only critical thing inside of a volcano. It was Earth Cave that also had the extra stuff, the fence and ribbon, the white shirt, pretty much right next to your incentive, or the loose incentive, or not incentive, loose item.
Yeah, Rob Draven passes another Ferocity tile without seeing the nuke and the cracks. Yeah, I think surprisingly our runners have gotten off quite easy for such a nasty combination on a mob. I do maybe Deadpulse is the only one who's seen that. I can't remember if Fryteeth maybe saw that in the Ice Cave, but either way, a lot of runners getting off easy.
Yeah, for sure. I think once Fried Teeth is done with his grind, we're going to see him probably make the play to Earth, because I believe that's all he has at this point now. He's already cleared volcanoes. He's got the fire orb lit. I know he did the ice cave, so I think that's his play. And you know, while we were talking, Guardian Marcus does get his loot. Pretty sure he knows where the chime is, and if he does, it's like, go pick up your chime, go do your grind, and go kill some fiends at that point.
Yeah, I'm curious what he's hoping to find here.
Unless he has the chime already.
I think
here, because we missed the item store. Pretty sure if he's here, he's got that. It's gonna just kind of go with the black belt at its levels.
Yeah, there were a lot of chests in the open sea, or the inner sea, that would have given him enough money to get the chime. I worry about him going in right now. I'm not quite sure what this is. You're not going to really find any accessible spike tiles that aren't going to be quite difficult to get to. You don't need an incentive location here. You're not looking for anything loose at this point. He doesn't really need too many more items, given that he's running black belt. I don't really know what this play is. I mean, I'm wondering if he's just looking for items or what. No, he is. Oh, we just got. I did not see the chime on his item screen.
No, it was there. It was right there. Okay. I could have sworn I saw it right above the oxale.
Just looking for an overworld grind, maybe? I'm not sure. Cheesenator says cross streams can surprise the number of black belts for these flags. Yeah, we were remarking the same thing earlier. This seems a lot like the spring tournament flags from last year, in which I found a lot of success running Fighter Rainbow and killing off one of the mages. But yeah, I share your surprise with that. But clearly working out for some of our runners so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see Guardian Marcus, because it looks like he's going for an overworld grind, Tyros, but those Tyros had a lot of health, and that black belt really wasn't hitting for pretty much anything.
Did he equip the Master Move?
I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure I saw him punching. If he was hitting those Tyros like 2 hits for 60 damage. That's not what you want to see with him also.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to take off and go elsewhere. You lose track of which runners have seen what, so I'm not sure if he knows where the Eye and the Agamus grind tiles are. Though it looks like he's headed straight towards the Eye grind tile.
I just thought about it. He was using the dangerous monsters in the desert, like Tyros and Angulos, to basically kill everybody off, to then go to his Eye ground instead of have to wait for the Eye or kill people. So, yep, very head.
Oh, we of little faith. Guardian Marcus showing why he's one of the top runners in this tournament. I think that was a great way to drop his party. Again, we're talking about how it took the Dead Pulse not horribly wrong, but certainly probably a lot longer than he was hoping. I think Guardian Marcus just knocked that out in a really, really good way. So yeah, shouts to Guardian Marcus. I think that was very heads up play. Well done. You baffled us, but for good reason.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see where he's kind of stacks up with our other, runners, because Rob Draven just needs to make the Earth play, as well as potentially get the chime, and I guess we're still missing the Oxale, but he's got the crown, so the Oxale is kind of going to go right by it. Probably will grab it on the way to Earth.
Yeah, and he's getting what appears to be a solid 8,000 XP per eye. He's going to get through this grind pretty quick.
Yeah, it's 6,000, so yeah, these are dying in one round, whereas the Agamas were sometimes, like, early on in the grind, we're taking, potentially 2 rounds, depending on how much you were swinging for. So getting about, another 50% on top of the fact that they're dying in one round. Granted, I don't know if it's likes to ambush, but yeah, it's going to be a lot quicker of a grind for him, too, compared to the others.
Rob Draven go pick up the Oxale, came off the crown, which found an ice cave. So he's looking pretty good, too. I think he just needs 1 or 2 more items to be in go mode.
If he's missing the chime, then he just needs to pick up the
chime
crystal and floater, which I guess we'll try to keep it on his menu when we see that, to see if we do see the chime.
Yeah, and that black belt very quickly up to the mid-20s. So this is going very well for him. Dead Pulse going to be taking on Carry. And 837 damage from that black belt will be plenty to go ahead and knock out Carry. Dead Pulse lights his first orb. And he's now going to go to Earth Cave, where he knows for a fact the loose item that leads to the crystal, the loose item that leads to the floater has to be. But of course he's going to have to take the long way there, because he's got a ship.
I think the worst part about this is not only the fact that you have to go to Earth Cave to find that, you also have to come all the way back here to then get your airship too. So it's like kind of not only is there the wound, but the game's also kind of rubs salt in the wounds.
Yeah, and like it's not the worst thing in the world. You've got a couple ways to get out of the Earth Cave and get to Crescent Lake, but it's annoying. He made some early gambles hoping to find that floater before anyone else, and unfortunately all those kind of backfired. He's checked everything that he can, and he's gonna last location floater here.
Which, yeah, he just stopped to pick up his chime. So yeah, at this point he is just that crystal in the floater away from Gummold himself.
Guardian Marcus, meanwhile, still just one-shotting eye after eye, and he has nearly hit 32. We're gonna see him take down a couple more of these, and I imagine he'd be done once it's 32.
Yeah, I would really be surprised to see any of the runners take the black belt to 42. Like, I would say take it to 32 since the eyes are right here. For whatever reason, you find out that Topher is just an horrible, horrible thing that you can't get through. Then you don't take that black belt to 42. But
yeah, especially with fast and the defense sword and some ribbons, like you've got the items that you need to handle the vast majority of Topher situations at 32. There are very few Tophers at this range that are going to present that much of an issue, and most of them aren't going to be because of the scaling. It's going to be because of spells that they have, or maybe just like some random, horrible absorb stat rolls really high on somebody.
Yep.
And there is Guardian Marcus hitting 32, gonna heal up and walk out, I imagine. See if he proves us wrong. Nope, yep, there he goes, walking out. Guardian Marcus is done and moving on. 2 fiends left to kill, I believe. Unless he is not killed. No, he has not killed Carrie yet, but he's got
the adamant. So yeah, I mean, this makes sense. It's like, hey, I've got my floater. I mean, he could even just be like, you know what, I'm gonna... Actually, he doesn't even need to check incentives. He knows he's in go mode.
Yeah, he knows where the chime is, so he knows he's in go mode. So we'll see if he decides to push it or if he still wants to check a few chests as he goes into Volcano, because he could very well just walk into Volcano and go straight down to carry.
It really wouldn't surprise me, because like he's got, we've kind of went over, he's got the defense sword, he's got the ribbon, he's got a white shirt. He pretty much has every single tool you really want as a black belt to get through Topher at this point.
And he's got to go fast too, because Dead Pulse is catching up. He is right next to the incentive crystal.
Yeah, we'll see if it is behind the spike tile, so maybe you skip it just because like I don't want to deal with the spike tile right now, but we know that that's where you have to go, and he does pick up his second ribbon, and we'll see if he decides to skip or not just yet, because the troll's going to troll and do troll thing.
Sure enough, Guardian Marcus has decided that he is in fact go mode, does not need to check anything else to go straight to carry. And Dead Pulse headed to the room where we know the incentive crystal is hidden away, tucked behind a few other goodies.
It's been here the whole time. And right behind him, Fryteeth is going to have his crystal as well, so...
Yeah, Fryteeth, also the grind. So we, Rob Draven just a little bit behind, still doing pretty well on levels. You can see plenty of health there on that fighter. But yeah, as Dead Pulse finds the crystal, Fryteeth going to find it maybe 20-30 seconds later. Guardian Marcus heading straight down to carry. We are going to see 3 runners in almost identical positions at the 59-minute mark. So we have Dead Pulse, Fryteeth, and Guardian Marcus absolutely gunning for the finish line. And we're going to see them all tackle both Sea Shrine and the Mirage Tower, Sky Palace, together. Guardian Marcus got a slight lead thanks to finding the Earth Cave loose early and not having to full clear Volcano. But again, Dead Pulse and Fryteeth very much not far behind. And depending on what Topher looks like, Rob Draven is a very, very capable runner. By no means is he out of this. He's not even that far behind. It's just that these runners are that tight.
Yeah, and I mean, the other big thing that helped Guardian Marcus kind of close the gap, because he was, behind for a lot of it, just because, he was being a lot more... He was clearing everything basically as soon as he got to it. So there wasn't a lot of backtracking for him, but he was full clearing it right when he could get to it. Is the fact that because he waited so long to do the grind, he had so many more key items, and those eyes were giving 6,000 experience compared to the Agamas on Dead Pulse's and Fryteeth's side. They were giving 4,000. So that grind took a lot less time on top of everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Guardian Marcus, I think, gonna check some spells here, hoping to find Temper. Going straight to Black Magic, not gonna find it there, so we know that it's gonna be somewhere kind of gross, like Onrak, Ilafane, or Gaia. Hoping to find it there in Onrak in the bottom slot, I believe, of Black Magic is gonna be Black Mage learnable. Can just ignore promoting altogether and go straight through. Depends if you want to throw black shirt and white shirt on your mages if you found both of those. But with gold +1, I don't necessarily think that's required, especially since Pro Ring +2 was readily available and you've got 2 ribbons. I think there's no real need for the black belt parties to promote. And I think Rob Draven at the fighter probably gonna be worth taking the 20 seconds to do it. As Rob Draven finds the crystal himself and now has 1 to 2 loose as well, I believe.
He has both loose. He's got the adamant, so he is definitely in. I just need to go turn in this crystal, and same kind of idea. Either this turns into the herb or this is my floater. But pretty much at last location by all 3 of the runners, so they're probably all feeling like, oh, I've made mistakes. I need to fix this, and there is level 7 lock at the very least in the bottom slot, so that's learnable.
Yeah, so between lock 2 at Crescent Lake and lock learnable by Black Mages there in Onrak, they've got options. I think you want Temper if you can get it, but by no means you need it right now. A level 32 Black Belt plus fast plus lock 2s and lock if you need them, that should be plenty. Sunflash Rune asking, Power Bonk is very much behind a long fetch chain, right? Yeah, so I think we are assuming that it is going to be behind...
Has to be like bottle, herb, slab, and those 3 in some kind of order.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we haven't checked yet.
Waterfall,
thank you. Yeah, so Waterfall probably, bottle, herb, slab, something gross like that. Either way, hopefully something that none of our runners do, because that would feel awful. Like Power Bonk is great if you can find it. Listen, don't get me wrong, but when you don't need it to be that delayed, just Power Bonk, not fun. But I think just the way that this seed is set up, we're going to see very few, if any.
I could see the bonk on Rob Draven's side if he decides to run Topher, and there ends up being a high absorb fiend that he can't get through because of that. Whereas like the black belt parties, I just see them, the eyes are right there. It's like, hey, I'm going to take it to 42 because my black belt's going to crit eventually.
Yeah, it's a tough calculation. Like, what is the time lost to getting the bonk versus what's the time saved if I get it and need to kill fiends with it? Yeah, that's tough mental math to try and do on the fly. So we'll see if it comes down to that. But Guardian Marcus absolutely hauling it. He is already well into Sea Shrine as Fryteeth goes to turn in the crystal. Dead Pulse already has done so, so Fryteeth not too far behind. And Rob Draven on Lich Floor going to go ahead and knock out his second Fiend kill. So again, all of our runners showing why they are here in these top few slots, as they are at the hour mark. Very, very close. And there goes Rob Draven pulling Lich as we see Guardian Marcus delayed by yet another unrunnable Wiz Sahag and Red Sahag pack. They cast Fire too. And that's coming from the Red Sahags too. This is potentially a very problematic pack. It's not that Fire 2 does a lot of damage, it's that a lot of those plus Toxic coming in. That is potentially a very, very scary pack to have to hit a bunch. Luckily, Guardian Marcus is going to see his Red Mage live, at least for now, that very important life 2. But those Fire 2s potentially going to keep knocking it down. But no, he's going to get that Ice 3 off and get through it just fine. Cast life 2, bring back Nuke and Burn. I think, yeah, Burn. Get those 2 guys back up. As Dead Pulse is airborne, heading first, it looks like, to... Yeah, headed to Mirage, and Rob Draven going to pick up his floater. His Fryteeth's doing some inventory management there in Crescent Lake, picking up those gold +1s, like I said earlier, for those mages. That is wonderful endgame gear for not a whole lot of money.
So Guardian Marcus actually did not pick those black mages up. It's just going with the 2-man party. I'm sure we'll see him pick those black mages up before Kraken.
Yeah, if nothing else, they are meat shields. You know, I think you use them like that for pretty much the rest of the game. we'll see if he moves him around or if he feels confident enough in his black belt to just take that shot to the face.
He's picking one of them up because he only had 1 life 2 charge.
There you go. Yeah, but even in scaling like this, we've been saying it's not too high scaling, but 200% scaling never stopped Kraken from one-shotting your lead black belt, so we'll see what happens.
Kraken likes doing Kraken things. You think you're safe against Kraken 1, and then Kraken's like, nah, I rolled like 200% strength. Or I'll start with Thunder, and hey, that black mage you just picked up, go away.
You don't need him, but what Kraken cannot do is survive 1,000 points of damage over 2 hits from the black belt. Gonna go right down. Gonna have one more annoying little encounter on the way out just before he can get in, and now gonna go into town, pick up those black mages, and head on to his final dungeon that we see both Dead Pulse and Fryteeth in right now. So we're gonna get a little bit of a preview with some unrunnable rock calls there. Dead Pulse's side, as Rob Draven is finally airborne just a few minutes later, and heading to Sky Palace as well. So we are going to have all 4 runners in Sky Palace at the same time, I think.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how close they enter Topher together, because Guardian Marcus definitely is in the lead between the 4 runners right now. He's already cleared C. Closest to clearing Sky right now is Dead Pulse. He's still got a couple floors to go through, though, so it's not going to take Guardian Marcus too long to really catch up, because Mirage floors, Sky floors, they really aren't that long.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing worth noting, Warmech is vanilla, so we are going to hope with seeing 4 runners on stream that at least one of them is going to pull Warmech on that final floor of Sky, as all 4 of our runners are in. Again, Guardian Marcus with a slight lead, having that third orb lit going on for 4 now, but get those Mr. Destructoids out, get whatever emotes you want out in chat, because we are going to hope that the Bridge of Destiny serves at least 1 Warmech for us today.
Fires have poison, so it looks like we've got quite, the 2 ribbons looks like are on the red mage and the white mage, and just the high magic defense of the black belt kind of helped them through that. Sadly, the black mage not having a ribbon decided, poison does poison things. I'm going to take a nap.
Dead Pulse making his way across the Bridge of Destiny. Gonna find some easy mobs and unrunnable air with Glare that he's gonna have a little bit of trouble with, actually.
Like they're evasive too.
Yeah, extremely evasive. They're gonna take Ice 3 to the face just fine. Yeah, 1 goes down. They have about 220 health, I think. Extremely evasive. Just can't get anything off. Finally, the black belt manages to swing at air and hit it. And Dead Pulse gonna make it all the way across Bridge of Destiny without finding our dear robotic friend. Fryteeth, a room behind, gonna pull some Whiz Vamps. And yeah, I think wisely take those out for a little bit of free experience, as Dead Pulse pulls Tiamat for the first time. You're gonna see 2 fasts coming out on the Mass Immune wielding White Mage, but also on the Black Mage. 121 damage from the White Mage. Tiamat wipes out the Black Mage. Oh no, sorry, that was the... it's 15 hits, 154 damage from the Black Belts. This is exactly the kind of situation we were talking about that you might get yourself into. This is only Tiamat once. This is a little bit scary.
Yeah, that was even a critical too. So this is a very kind of, wouldn't say it's scary Tiamat because we haven't seen him really do anything crazy, but the fact that he's got that high absorb, you pretty much have to crit to get damage done, and nothing is really going to help that.
Worth noting as well, Rob Draven on some sweet encounter table, he beat Guardian Marcus to Tiamat and basically tied Fryteeth as well. Or no, beat Fryteeth, it looks like. So well done, Rob Draven, getting all the way through Sky so fast as Dead Pulse beats Tiamat into submission. Fryteeth keeps getting these fighter encounters on the Bridge of Destiny. No Warmech to be seen yet, as Rob Draven also takes down Tiamat. Fryteeth makes it past the Bridge of Destiny. No Warmech pulls Tiamat. We have one more chance in Guardian Marcus, so we're going to see Warmech as Dead Pulse. Rob Draven head towards the Sea Shrine, and Fryteeth soon to follow. Genuinely, with how close this is, anything could happen. Rob Draven made up so much time in Sky Palace. It's really hard to overstate that. He's going to promote now, lose a little bit of time, but depending on how the RNG and the fights go in Topher, that could mean essentially nothing. It is still very close, and Guardian Marcus Hero runs it across the bridge, no encounters whatsoever, makes up a few seconds of his own on that bridge, and he has one fiend left staring him in the face before he can go to Topher.
It really kind of makes me wonder if some of these runners went in on a hard reset and the others didn't. You know, who did the hard reset, who didn't do the hard reset?
Alright, Rob Draven hopping in the airship. He's gonna equip a few things, I think, just to make sure everybody's fine. Got the white shirt, got the black shirt, those are plenty powerful. His mages are gonna be just fine. Guardian Marcus playing a little bit of softball with Tiamat, getting that white shirt out just in case. I'm gonna start throwing some ice 3s out from those mages, white shirt as well. And from a punch in the black belt, down goes Tiamat. Guardian Marcus is just about to hit Topher at the 1 hour, 11 minute mark, so he should be inside by 1 hour, 12 minutes as Fryteeth and Rob Draven head from Onrak into the Sea Shrine neck and neck. Deadpulse just a few rooms ahead of them. Folks, this is week 4 of the Duckling Derby, and we have our 4 best runners that can make it this week. Spots 1, 2, 3, and 5 vying for this final victory, and it is going to be extremely close. So hold on to your hats. We are in for one hell of a finish.
Yeah, Guardian Marcus stopping there quickly at Gaia just to see maybe, hey, I can get one. There's one slot left that might have Temper. Let me check to see if it's the slot I need. It's not, so that means Temper is level 8 either in Lefane or Gaia. So we are going in to Topher on Guardian Marcus's side for the first time with no Temper this time. So we'll have to see, and kind of crossing your fingers that none of those fiends roll dangerous with a high absorb at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Obviously, we're hoping for an easy enough Topher for owners to get through, but if even one fiend rolls up, probably Kraken 2 or Tiamat 2, it's going to happen. Chaos if he has a bunch of really bad spells. Ooh, and an ugly welcome as a fighter mage pack poisons the party and gets a decent amount of damage on the black mage. Obviously not the end of the world, but you really hate to have to waste healing this early in the run.
And if one wasn't enough here, have another one. And we shuffled trap tiles and we haven't seen the Phantom, but he's sitting there in his vanilla location the whole time.
Alright, Deadpulse, the first to pull Kraken 1, sorry. But Fryteeth not far behind, just a few steps away, as is Rob Draven. Again, incredible running from all 4 of these runners within a minute or 2 of each other at most.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those dangerous encounters. The Frostwolves, I forget exactly what they had, but they had kind of a dangerous skill to open up with, I thought. But luckily, you know, got turn order, and the Frostwolves that did go just cast it slow rather than that crazy spell, so no real resource have to get put into that fight.
Alright, Deadpulse takes down Kraken 1, Fryteeth, and Rob Draven got it pulled. Guardian Marcus gonna run into a Chimera pack, using the black shirt to try and take him down. Looks like he wants is this unrunnable, or does he want the experience from this?
It is unrunnable, so
okay.
I have to take these out. So, you know, it's going to be a nice chunk of experience, but that's, you know, you don't want that right now. It's like, let me get to the fiends, let me get to chaos. I don't care about you at all right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to remark, like, not sure he needs to take this fight at this point, but Deadpulse made up some time, is right behind Guardian Marcus now, entering Topher about 2 minutes behind. Now that is very much a surmountable lead, depending on how these teams roll. Doesn't even need a wipe, potentially. If they're on different encounter tables, depending on how many unrunnables you get, we're already seeing Guardian Marcus at quite a few. And Deadpulse waltzes right past the spot on the floor where Guardian Marcus had 2 fighter mage encounters run into a triple gas detail. So yeah, they are very much on different encounter cycles right now. This could be huge.
Really kind of depends what we end up seeing later on, and there's the Phantom critting the black belt. Thankfully, it's only for 240 damage, so no deaths. But yeah, we'll see what kind of encounters we're going to see on Deadpulse's side later, because, you know, Guardian Marcus got a bunch of unrunnables early on that it took him a little bit to get through, but it's very possible we see it the other way around on Deadpulse's side, because, you know, speaking of unrunnable encounters, we've got the unrunnable Frostwolves, Frost Giants on Deadpulse's side.
And meanwhile, Fryteeth and Rob Draven have completed their fiend hunting quest, and they too are on their way to Topher, as Guardian Marcus pulls Lich 2, the first to get there, but Dead Pulse only one floor behind. Down goes Lich 2, Guardian Marcus moves on.
Yeah, the Lich 2, when you take 1100 damage and the most your health can be is 12, or no, actually no, his health can't even be that high. 1000 was his highest. He got punched into oblivion, so...
Guardian Marcus getting all these encounters, all these really frustrating encounters that we didn't see Dead Pulse get quite as many of, although Dead Pulse is picking up a few more on this floor before Lich, as Guardian Marcus goes ahead and pulls Carry 2. Gregory Puff pointing out that yes, we do have a vanilla Phantom there on the spike tile in Topher. Is this even random?
Ooh, there was a 4 for 74, 16 for 415. No crits though, that's kind of surprising. We get the non-elemental tornado on top of that, so that's kind of in a scary spot. Your one risk, one life caster is, you know, down 100, but was in quad X range, takes him down and picks that black mage up and on a Kraken floor.
Always a very satisfying way to do it, to put that quad X down. Save yourself some time. Dead Pulse is going to go ahead and punch through Lich 2 as well, make his way to carry floor.
So considering that we're seeing the unrunnable chimeras on Rob Draven's side, I have a feeling that Guardian Marcus, Rob Draven are on the hard reset. Dead Pulse just kind of went in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and he's going to pull unrunnable Agama and our giant encounter. Not great, but it gives him experience, but you don't need it. We're going to see Guardian Marcus pull on to Kraken 2. Let's see if he changes things up. Yeah, I'm going to put both black mages there in the front. Sacrificial bait. There wouldn't be surprised if he has both of them cast fast, just to be safe. He's going to have one cast lit 3, I think. Going to punch. Already doing 467 without anything. Kraken's going to take down one of those black mages. Red mage swings with the Master Meter. You're going to get the white shirt from the top black mage. Going fast again, didn't get the fast off. May not need it. Again, that black belt already punching for quite a bit. Rolled low on absorb, this Kraken 2 did, as he eats another black mage for lunch, but black belt is going to punch right through, no problem.
Yeah, I think Guardian Marcus might have been sweating just a little bit there, because, you know, if you're waiting for a punch to happen, it's like you've got a black mage, you've got a red mage, you've got a black belt. It's like, might punch the black belt out. That's probably not great, but I've done a lot of damage, maybe within quad X range. But that red mage is just kind of sitting there, you know, on no defenses. Like, if I get punched, I'm probably dead, and I'm your life caster, so don't let me die, please.
Yeah. Alright, Guardian Marcus is going to do the same thing, load those black belts up, go into Tiamat 2. Let's see what we get here. Gonna be a fast, gonna be a white shirt, yeah, okay.
So the only thing I don't like about Guardian Marcus's formation, we have a high absorb Tia 2, is the fact that, and that's why, you had your white shirt on your top black mage, the one that's more than likely going to be targeted. If you were going to keep it on a black mage, put on like the second one, let your first one be your fast caster, just so you have a better chance of keeping that white shirt up.
Yeah, and I think he may just be going for, you know, like a punt, you know, best defense is a good offense kind of situation, but I'd say I broadly agree, but put the white shirt somewhere else. Quad X is not going to hit on that Tiamat 2 as Dead Pulse pulling Kraken 2 and working his way through that.
I'm pretty sure we've done over 1,000 damage as well, so this Tia 2 rolled up on the health, and yeah, Quad X kind of got bad turn order, unfortunately. Quad X came out first. I saw 11 hits, I didn't see how much damage it did, but the 9 hits for 496 is going to be enough, and down goes Tia 2, so Guardian Marcus is on to Chaos.
Yeah, and Fright Teeth, not far behind on Kraken 2 as Dead Pulse pulls Tiamat 2, Rob Draven on Kraken 2 floor. Guardian Marcus going in here to Chaos, but Kraken kind of punching around Fright Teeth's white mage there. And down goes Kraken 2. So let's see, Guardian Marcus pulls Chaos, gets 1 talk, gets 2 talk, gets 3 talk, and goes in. Here we go at the 1 hour, 19 minute, and 50 second mark. We're going to see our first attempt at Chaos. Keeping that black belt up front, I think he wants to keep his black mages alive. Yep, going to finally use that defense sword, get a little bit up.
That's good to see that Chaos is already missing with only 2 stacks of evade, because at this point you don't need to waste any more turns on defense. You can just start punching.
Yeah, absolutely.
The scary thing is if we start seeing spells and skills, because we really haven't seen, outside of Tornado, we haven't seen anything dangerous from any of the Fiends so far, so Chaos could be packing some serious heat right now, and you're kind of hoping, I need to rush him down as quickly as possible before he starts getting those scary things off.
Yeah, you're gonna hope, oh no, Freyteeth loses the White Mage to Tiamat too. Oh no. Deadpulse is just behind Guardian Marcus, but Freyteeth now is potentially going to have to try and do Chaos with just the Black Belt. I don't know if that's going to be possible given what we've seen so far. We really want that fast spell. The defense sword is probably not going to be enough. If he had the bonk, it may be one thing. Obviously, that was locked way behind a fetch quest, so we are going to see Freyteeth do a real hero run at Chaos with just the Black Belt. That is so unfortunate. It's a massive time loss if he has to wipe out of here.
Yeah, I'd almost say you've got the one person that's a Black Belt. You know, you're trying to get away from this party. I'd almost be like, you know what, I'm punching you at this point. The chance of you getting away is there, but you're just as likely to get away from them just punching them. And the fact that you're down to the one character anyways, you know, it's a decent amount of experience that you may need right now in that fight.
Yeah, meanwhile, Guardian Marcus in a great position. Nukes, heal 3s. This party is plenty good on health. He is punching for a small amount from that Black Belt, not nearly as much as he would like to be, but he still has a few nuke charges left. Choosing to use those nukes instead of the locks. 406 comes out, and that is a GG to Guardian Marcus, who takes first place with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 42 seconds. Again, that is first place on stream and first place overall. Well done to Guardian Marcus. As unfortunately we see a reset from Freyteeth. Deadpulse pulls Chaos, but GG's to Guardian Marcus, and we're going to see if we can't get him in here in just a second. Wow. I mean, what do you even say to this? It was incredible run from all these runners, but Guardian Marcus really hoofed it there at the end to get through.
Yeah, kind of played spoiler in a sense to Deadpulse. You know, then let him, you know, just sweep all 4 races in first place.
Yeah, absolutely. He was in a very good spot for excuse me, that quadfecta.
And this is kind of that scary point. Like, I mean, you look at the Knight, Tiamat already taking that Knight down to 196 with just one swing, and you don't have the Cure 4s in this case. That was White Mage lock, so you're trying to get these Tia down before anything terrible happens, and you know your Red Mage is down to 1 knee as well at 92, so it's pretty much in striking distance from anything right now, and that's the last thing you want to see happen, because that's who you kind of need to pick things up. And unlike a Black Belt, Knight's really going to have a lot more difficulty trying to do this solo. But while that's happening, Deadpulse does finish with an official time of 1 hour 23 minutes on the dot. He does finish up in second place, so get your GGs in chat for Deadpulse.
And Cheese accurately saying, everyone who will be in Spring Tournament 2021, look out for the people on screen here. Absolutely. This is an incredible class. And we are joined by the 2 folks who have finished on stream. GG's to both Deadpulse and Guardian Marcus. A well done, extremely well run race, extremely well run tournament. You get to rest now. Welcome to the post-tournament booth. How are you guys feeling?
Pretty good. Can't believe that actually came in first.
Yeah, it was an extremely tight race. Your path diverged from everyone else in that you were the first person to find the loose in Earth, and then you made the accurate decision to not go hunt down the second one, which you actually passed in the armory and bulk camp. But by the time that you were there, you did skip right by it and saved just, precious seconds, and, about a minute doing that, and that was all that you needed to unseat Deadpulse. But Deadpulse, 3 first place finishes, then a second place overall finish. Perhaps a little disappointing to not finish out the quadfecta of just running roughshod over this competition, but an extremely terrifying resume all the same. So GG's to you. How are you feeling?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, I would have liked to get the quad, but Guardian Marcus is such a great racer, and you take a look at the people that are ranked in the top 15 in this, any of them could have won this race. Like, they're all so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's in chat telling us as well that it looks like Rubes, who was my former teammate, had some late wipes on Chaos, but perhaps was the first person on Chaos. So yeah, this was extremely, extremely tight all around. So Link, what questions do you have for our runners?
I guess my main question is the decision on party composition. What made you decide to go black belt?
It was mostly, trying to avoid looking for the Vorpal or some kind of other weapon. I mean, I ended up finding the Mavmune in our deals, but it was just something that hopefully I could get some time on compared to people who took fighter.
Mine was a little different. I was concerned that if I took a fighter and I didn't find a decent weapon right away, or any weapon for that matter, that I was just going to lose a ridiculous amount of time. And I didn't need to win this, I just needed to do good enough.
Yeah, and I think good enough was a pretty large threshold for you. I know we were talking about it at the beginning of the broadcast, but you had quite the swath of being able to, have things go particularly poorly for you and still make it through. And I think we're seeing the potential, bad luck that could have happened on the other side of the screen. You guys were all minutes within each other. I think 2 to 3 minutes within each other going into Topher, but unfortunately Freyteeth and Rob both wiped in Topher, and they're all pretty similar levels to you. I know Freyteeth did pretty much the exact same grind that Deadpulse did. Unfortunately, Freyteeth get knocked out again by Kraken this time. Not going to be able to survive with just a Black Mage, though, as Rob Draven also heading back into Topher. I think there's a lot of... It's the randomizer, right? There's always going to be a certain amount of luck. I think luck did play a minimal factor basically up until Topher. At least as minimal a factor as luck can be in terms of finding loose items. The one thing that we saw that worried us at the beginning was the Frost Dragons. Deadpulse, I think you were the only one that saw what they actually had. I don't think we saw anyone else hit both nuke and crack on the Frost Dragons at any other point. You wiped very early and said, no thank you, I do not want this. But we saw every other runner hit several spike tiles with Frosties. I don't think any of them saw it.
I was shaking in my boots when I was running through Ice Cave as well. Just, I'm going to hit him. I know I'm going to hit him.
So nobody else saw that up until Topher. Rob Draven unfortunately took a second wipe in Topher to the Frost Dragons because 2 of them decided one nuke wasn't enough, so the other one's like, I got you. Let me finish the rest of them off.
All right, now Deadpulse, as Darkmoon is pointing out in chat, you have 2 of the 3 previous Duckling Supremes here in chat with you, and you are now the 4th. The second place finish is not nearly enough to get you anything but first place. So you are now the Duck Supreme of the most loaded class of Ducklings that we have ever had. Can you talk a little bit about the awesome might that comes with the mantle of being Duckling Supreme, especially heading into a very near spring tournament?
Well, I mean, I'm honored to be part of this class because, over the last 8 weeks, 12 weeks, starting with the Duckling Boot Camp, I think we've all kind of come together and made a lot of friends, had a lot of fun along the way. And I'm just glad that I was able to take part in a race like this and meet so many great people, great racers. And they kind of pushed me to the level that I'm at right now.
Awesome. Yeah, it was really cool to see not just how much buy-in there was in terms of sheer numbers for this Duck Derby, be far and away the most we've ever had. But yeah, I think the camaraderie that we've seen among the Ducks is really great. I think it speaks to the Duckling program. So certainly if any of you out there watching or thinking about getting in, we will definitely be having another one of these Duckling Derbies later this year. Then you too may have the chance to become the Duckling Supreme in your class. But I think this means at some point in the near future, we're going to have to get all 4 Duckling Supremes together for a race. And, certainly I have no desire to get smoked by you in the lead up to the spring tournament. That's the last thing that my ego needs. But I will happily join Link and Gouda as well to showcase what the Derby can do for people alongside the Duckling Bootcamp.
Well, Groggy, I would say I'm sorry because technically I believe it was Gregley, left that one up to me as the current Duckling Supreme. He's like, so do you want a one-on-one against the winner, or do you want like the one-on-one with all four of them? I was just like, let's do all of them. So I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not at all.
No, I think that'll be great. Yeah, that'll be a great run for the four Duckling Supremes. It's wild now that we have all four of us. I was there technically for the first one. I had been playing the randomizer for less than a month when the first Duckling Derby happened. I got smoked. I was the only person to not make the cut to the second day. So it was the one out of like 9 people, I think, that didn't make it to the second day. So they were nice and let me continue my status as a poor duck. But like the quality of ducks that have come through is unbelievable. The plays you're making, Deadpool specifically, I'm thinking that very early Ordeals dive, it didn't pay out, I think, in the way that you wanted, and that you got the loot and not the floater, but that was super heads-up play. But even then, Guardian Marcus, all of you were so confident in terms of how you navigated the open sea, how you navigated the inner sea. It's daunting to get the canoe in the canal first thing, and then know that, okay, this isn't just about Marsh anymore, I have to go check Ice and Volcano too. So would you guys both talk a little bit about what were some of the big decisions that you saw yourself making in the early game, and how you...
Yeah, I was not feeling the greatest about diving to Earth Cave. I definitely thought about going to Ordeals first as well, but took a gamble, ended up paying off, and pretty happy about that. But it could have went sour and nothing been there. So the way it should go sometimes.
I think my biggest decision was once I had full cleared ice and volcano and checked all the key locks. The only places that I had left were marsh and earth, and I decided, you know what, I have to go to earth anyways, I might as well check, and maybe the loose is in the Chanigan room.
All right, we see... Sorry, looking here on stream, both Rob Draven and Fryteeth back at Chaos. Farther than Fryteeth has made at any point before. Unfortunately, he only has the Black Mage and the Black Belt. Now, potentially the only thing that he needs, as we see... Oh, there's the nuke coming from Chaos. Didn't see that earlier. I can't remember if either of you guys saw nuke. Things were moving so fast that it was hard to tell. Fryteeth gonna lose his Black Mage to Chaos. Gonna be punching for 224 on the Black Belt. That is not so bad, as we see, Rob Draven frantically trying to heal himself up with heal pots there. Didn't get any healing spells on the promotable Knight. Meanwhile, Fryteeth continuing to punch as Chaos threatens with a fast spell of his own. Ice 2's a little bit of health down. Oh, Fryteeth is putting in so much damage as Rob Draven wipes out, and so does Fryteeth. Oh no, it's heartbreaking. Again, the levels here were really similar. I struggle to think of what Fryteeth did super differently from either Deadpulse or Guardian Marcus in terms of routing and leveling, but oh, what an absolute gut punch to wipe out again.
I think that was, like our tracker said in chat, RNG gun RNG. Pretty sure he was hit, or evade capped, and just got crit through the evade cap, and that sadly it does happen, and when it does happen, it's usually the worst possible time for it to happen.
Yeah. Both runners are going to get taunted by this vanilla phantom here as they go through. Fryteeth's going to find those mage fighters that kind of annoyed Guardian Marcus, I think, in your first one. Now, Marcus and Deadpulse, which one of you went in? One of you went on the hard reset, and then one of you went in just kind of on what you were on. Do you guys remember?
I just went willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I went hard reset either, but
okay. Okay, we were wondering, because they were very different paths for both of you. We were kind of wondering if one of you had gone in on the hard reset, but no, it sounds like you both just kind of went in on your own, which, I mean, listen, that's what I do. I don't believe in the power of the hard reset. I sort of like to take my chances.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a good, easy to manipulate the encounter table, so...
Now, one thing we talked about earlier in the broadcast as well was, we kind of surmised that the black belt parties were probably going to stop at a level 32 grind. Obviously, for both of you, you made it through Topher handle 30, no issue. But what cases would have presented themselves to you guys to make you reconsider that 32 grind to perhaps go up to 42?
Well, it would have been at least one wipe in Topher for me to think about it, but it would have depended on what caused the wipe and everything as well. Like, say if my black belt got hit with like instant kill spell, I might have thought about it harder, especially with the eye grind right in normal Topher.
Well, I did the Agamas until I found, I got to 32, and then I found the eyes, and I just like did the double blink, like, oh really?
Yeah.
This is what we're doing? But no, I would have taken my black belt to 42 in Marsh if I were scared that I couldn't get out at 32. Like if the arachnids had blaze or something like that.
Danny didn't really see you were safe from that.
I mean, Earth Cave had some nasty stuff in it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a handful. I mean, I think Frost Dragons were for sure the worst, non-boss that we saw. But yeah, Earth Cave, I remember having a few problems.
I will trade you your Earth Cave for the Earth Cave my Duck Derby had for our last one, because we're pretty sure Danny rolled this seed, but we had they were runnable. We had ambushing Gurogers with nuke that used it on turn 1, like 90% of the time.
That makes me want to throw up.
Green spiders had nuke. That sounds right. Something bad like that. I feel like I remember saying. Alrighty, Fryteeth and Rob Draven again, kind of lockstep here as they're both on the Kraken 2 floor already, and hoping desperately that this is going to be the time that they make it through and finish the friggin' fight, man. This has been brutal for both of them. After what were really, really quality races from both of them, to just get slapped around like Topher, the final race of the tournament is so disheartening. But we'll see if Fryteeth can make it through this Kraken fight.
Yeah.
With all party members intact. And immediately, Kraken takes down that back row Black Mage.
Yeah, and it kind of surprises me to maybe, and the black belt does what the black belt needs to get through Kraken, but it kind of surprises me not to potentially see like a change in strategies. Find a way to keep your life casters safe on Kraken and Tia, because that's kind of where the problems have actually been for them, is they're losing their life casters. So it gets down to that point, you're getting to Chaos or one of the later Fiend, Tia 2, where you're kind of limping towards it. You don't have that full party to get your big melee online. It's just you're going mono with Chaos, and then you find out, hey, Chaos has nuke, Chaos has all this. It becomes a lot harder at that point to be able to 1v1 Chaos when that happens.
Yeah. Oh no, Kraken 2. Well, I mean, Rob Draven's gonna be fine. He's gonna life 2 his Black Mages and Black Belt back up. Fighter back up. But woof, that Kraken had it out. And Fryteeth gonna make it through, and he's gonna have the full party this time.
Yeah, even something like on Rob Draven's side, he promoted really late, so I'm pretty sure his knight has no spell charges right now, but go get like a level or 2 just to get that 1 life 2 charge on your knight. That way, if your knight's the one who survives, can pick up the red wizard, so the red wizard can pick everybody up when that that does happen. Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna see Fryteeth, fingers crossed, this is gonna be the run for him. Fast gets out on the White Mage, Ice 2 comes out from Chaos, unthreatening. Defense +5 coming out for the Ruse on the Black Belt, as well as another fast charge. Now we go into the damage phase. Curious, I can't remember if he ever found the white shirt. I guess we'll see if he's going to go ahead and start popping that. I don't see it just yet. Swirl comes out from Chaos, going to go ahead and take down one of those Black Mages, but they're just casting Ice 3 anyway, so it's not the biggest deal. As Rob Draven unfortunately wipes out again. Just brutal.
I'm not sure, maybe we just missed it, and he's just getting really unlucky on Tia 2, but it looks like Tia 2's on a punch script, so it's just like, if that's the case with how hard he's swinging, it's that idea, you have to get some safety, some melee safety to like your melee as well as your red wizard. Which his red wizard has ruse. He should have the defense sword as well. So just use the defense and ruse. Get them evade capped before hopefully he swings, especially on the red wizard. That's kind of your safety right there. If everybody else is gonna die, the red wizard with the masa might take some time, but probably gonna be able to get through.
Fryteeth, meanwhile, doing plenty of damage as that black mage survives by the skin of its teeth, putting a little bit more defense on that black belt. But the white mage is swinging the mass immune for a decent amount of damage. Newt comes out, down goes the black mage, down goes the white mage. The black belt is on a very small amount of health. One more Newt can do it. He gets stunned but recovers immediately. Good luck there. 249 damage isn't going to do it. Ice 2 brings him down. He is low. 41 damage. Lit 2 down to 85. 182. He is, oh my gosh, he's down to 85 health. 10 hits. Chaos is going to swing and miss those defense charges with the ruse coming in handy. 224 isn't going to do it. He's down. Oh, he misses again. Hits 224, and that is a GG for Fryteeth. Finally, by the skin of those Fryteeth, makes it through. Kills Chaos. Put those GGs in chat for a very well-deserved finish for Fryteeth, who I'm sure is absolutely sighing a sigh of relief. Gonna finish in 12th place with an official time of 1:40.51. Again, was right behind Guardian Marcus and pace with Dead Pulse basically going into Topher, and had some pretty horrendous luck. So we'll see if we can get to post-mortem on that run. And sure enough, here we are, joined by Fryteeth, who hopefully has had the 10-minute delay to kind of let the adrenaline settle in after an absolutely brutal Topher. But Fryteeth, how you feeling now? You finished a solid 12th place, and a really, really good standing overall in the tournament. Not sure what your final spot is, but GG's to you. Welcome, how you doing?
Thanks. Disappointed with the ending tonight, but just, yeah, it's never a good feeling when you're through Tier 2 and no one's done, and, 4 Topher trips later, just barely make it through.
Yeah, I mean, you were neck and neck the entire race. Everyone on stream was in Topher within a couple minutes of each other. We saw Dead Pulse and Guardian Marcus make it through in one go, but you and Rob obviously had some issues, and it wasn't necessarily down to party comp or equipment or spells or whatever. It was just bad luck. We saw some choices in terms of keeping your white mage in the second slot there going through Topher, which actually ended up paying off for you, because I saw at least a couple of times Kraken hit the third slot before hitting the second slot. But after those wipes, what were your thoughts in terms of adjusting or not adjusting, or what was going to be, what decisions were you making after each of those wipes, trying to figure out what was...
Yeah, I wasn't real sure what, I knew a couple of those, if I got better turn order and a little luckier, I was going to make it through, and, I lost count of Chaos at the end, but I'm guessing that first time that I made it all the way down, I had to have been pretty close, because I don't think he had a ton of HP.
Yeah, we haven't really been keeping track of the exact amount. He's not a pushover by any means, but it's certainly not as high as we've seen Chaos roll in the past. So yeah, I think you got reasonably close, but unfortunately weren't able to secure it. Now, earlier in the seed, you found what you needed pretty quick. When you got the canoe and the canal to start off the game, what were your thoughts in terms of routing? Obviously, that opens up quite a bit for you, but just from the experience of practicing, or just your own personal preference, what kind of decisions did you make after that?
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled to find those that quickly, because that opens up too many possibilities early.
Yeah.
I was glad I went out to Crescent Lake early to get the ship, but Earth is almost always my last dig, and it was kind of important here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you weren't alone. Guardian Marcus was the first one to go to Earth before finding the volcano loose. In fact, didn't ever find the volcano loose. Putting the Earth crystal put him in go mode. But you were pretty much on pace with everyone through that. The other question I want to ask is something we ask of Dead Pulse and Guardian Marcus as well, which is, some of the vets were surprised at the number of black belts that we saw being run through this part of the tournament. So what made you choose a black belt comp for this final race?
So for this race, with the two loose, I don't always want a black belt. But, you go black belt, Vorpal, Power Gauntlet, and Tail are all, not really needed. And so every practice seed I did, basically one loose was all I ever needed. And, that was the case today. I just found the wrong one first. But the combination of that and, knowing that the spike tiles were shuffled but not random, so, you're going to find the Agma tile, you're going to find the Eye tile. Normally getting the black belt leveled up like that makes Topher nice and safe.
Normally. Well, again, GG's to you, Fryteeth, as we're watching Rodraven make another attempt here at Topher, going through Kraken and onto Tiamat. And while we're kind of waiting on this to play out, and we've got the three of you, as Deadpool said earlier, this is the end of a 12 or more week journey for many of you to get here to the Duckling Derby. And so I'd love to hear, what are some of the big takeaways that you've had from the last 3 or 4 months of your time with the Randomizer coming into what is now the lead up to the spring tournament, and at a time which we're expecting the biggest spring tournament we've ever had. So I guess let's start with finished order to go. How about Guardian Marcus? What kind of takeaways do you have from your time here at the Randomizer so far?
Well, first off, there's a lot of great help on the Discord. The boot camp is also huge. You got lots of people that are willing to help all the time, including yourself and Sir Link a lot. You got Gregory Puff, our Duckling Don. I could go, I keep going on and on, so I'm not gonna say any more names, but yeah, there's so much help out there, and even somebody like me who's maybe not I'm more of a casual runner, except for us practicing a lot for the tournament. Like, you can do really well at this Randomizer, just with all the help that's available.
Awesome, thank you. And Deadpulse, how about you?
This is going to be a rough spring tournament.
I think we're all saying that watching you guys.
Well, my thought coming into today was I was kind of blessed with the time that the Duck Derby happened. If it happened, a month or two before this, I wouldn't have done as well. And honestly, if it happened a month or two later than this, I can name 10 ducklings who started in the last 2 months that are going to be better than me in 2 months. It's terrifying.
And Frankie, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I did the Duck Derby 6 months ago, and that when I was very new, and it went badly at times, to say the least. I didn't even finish, I think, the last race in it. So just been, practicing a lot, and as I said, there's a lot of fantastic help in the community, and probably the biggest thing I did was join the Fall League teams, and just gotta say, Cheesenator, who was one of my teammates, the amount of help he gave me getting, learning things, he's a large part of the reason that I've improved as much in these 6 months that I have. So, spring tournament will be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. I guess I can speak from that personal experience because, right after the Duckling Derby that you alluded to, the one that I won, the co-op tournament happened shortly thereafter, and Thundercloud made the comments like, "Hey, co-op partner from last year isn't joining, looking to take any newer player under my wing," and it's just like I kind of just jumped at the chance to get helped out by one of the vets. So it's like the vets are not afraid to help out the newer players, even though they know it's like I might very well be helping out the person who's going to smoke me one day in a race. Well, we were talking about that. Unfortunately, Raudgraven, Tia did Tia things, took everybody down even with the defenses. So it looks like he's grinding up a little bit, maybe to get at least one more level, get one more life 2 charge on the Knight, just in case the worst happens and he does end up losing everybody except that Knight on Tia 2. That way he can get to Chaos, I believe for the very first time with his whole party up, which hopefully will let him kind of get over it and get Chaos down with the weaponry he'll have.
This is kind of the nightmare that I was talking about before with fighters. If something like this happened, where he can get all the way to the end, but you have a punchy, Kraken 2 or Tia 2, where you only have 1 or 2 characters survive. You just can't get all the way there. That's what I was scared of the most.
Yeah, I know it's something we kind of discussed on stream because, we know somewhat where the power bunk is. We know it's got to be in a few locations, but we know it's just a long fetch quest to the power bunk at this point. If you wipe out of Topher too many times just because, hey, I can't do damage to this boss fast enough, do you take that time? Granted, it's like a 3 or 4 step fetch quest to do so, but it's still the power bonk. And we haven't seen Temper. The only spells we haven't seen are level 8, so we know Temper landed somewhere in the level 8 to where they either go pick up Temper or go spend the time to get the power bonk to kind of get that extra little boost to hopefully get you past one of those nasty fights.
Rob Draven here taking some nuke fights here on these green Ds. I sort of wonder at what point do you just kind of make the decision to go back and grind, or even maybe grind here in Topher. I don't think is a terrible idea. He's still gonna. Oh no, it looks like he's okay. So that's exactly what he's doing. He's gonna take a few laps here. He's found some green D tiles. I think this is a great place to grind. I've always thought that first few floors of Topher generally will provide some high XP and more or less low danger mobs. You've at least got some options, and here he's got some Gasties that are fairly tanky, but also going to stack him in terms of HP. So, how high do you think he should be going here in terms of this grind?
I feel like with kind of how his luck's been, because the main thing that, kind of went over it a little bit, but the main thing that's kind of stopping him is the fact that, once he hits Kraken, he's losing his party. He's losing at least 1 to 2 people. And this last time he went through when he took a wipe, he had 1 charge on the Knight, so he was able to pick everybody up. It got him through Tia 2, but he lost everybody but the Knight on Tia 2. So it's just I feel like just taking up the Knight to basically just get that second charge, where it's okay, you can kill everybody in my party except my Knight. I don't care at this point. I'm getting my entire party to chaos this run, and we'll see if that's enough to get me through. The other thing, potentially looking at, since you're leveling up this much, you're also going to be leveling up your Black Wizard, so they're going to have more charges. That Chaos has a fairly high absorb with the time you have gotten to him. You know that Temper's level 8. Go check Gaia. Take the time to go for Lefane. It is, a couple minutes to do so, but that might just be what you need, is that little bit of extra boost on Chaos, those Temper charges. Because, really, once you get to... You don't need to really lock Chaos. You're getting the hits in, so it's once you do fast, those Black Wizards really don't have much to do other than kind of chip damage, and if you have any nuke charges left, to throw some nuke charges at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's got a good thing going here, just take these fights, exit house, go back in, do what you need to do. But none of these encounters seem overly terrifying, at least in terms of immediate wipes, and he's high enough level now where these shouldn't present too much of a long-term issue for him. But, I also gotta imagine that the mental game now is so rough in terms of if this were any other race, you might just forfeit and save yourself the trouble. I certainly have never been adverse to forfeiting, having come from the center competitive forfeiting in the team league, but you gotta be feeling so rough. And obviously, like Frights, you felt some of that too. But Rob Draven still going again. He was in tow for I think 3 minutes behind Guardian Marcus. And at the time, it felt like those sort of mid-20s were going to do him just fine, but through a combination of just some bad luck, but also just not being able to get through the Fiends fast enough, I think, find position. And this is a lonely grind right here, knowing that, a lot of people have finished, but this is just like sort of that grit and determination that you also like to see of, what? I came here to finish this race, and that's what I'm going to do, figure out how to do it no matter what.
Yep, I mean, last race of the Duck Derby, you don't want if you end up having to forfeit because of it, nobody's going to say anything poor about you or anything like that. That's not the kind of community this is whatsoever. But it's just kind of that self kind of fortitude. It's like, how much more do I want to, I guess, put myself through? It's like, I really want to finish it because it is the last one. But at some point you feel like it's like, I just can't do anymore, because it's like, it is taxing. It's like you see all these people finishing, and you were like right there behind the leaders at a point, and now it's just like it's almost an hour later we're getting on, and it's just like it does kind of feel pretty bad.
You gotta respect the tenacity, though.
Yeah, I think we've all had runs like goodness knows I've had plenty of those where you just feel totally defeated. It is, especially for something like this that you are ostensibly doing for fun, right? Like, I don't think any of us are making money off of this. At least I'm certainly not. Cheesenator might be the one exception to that rule after the Speed Gaming Live tournament. I don't know if he's still hanging around in chat. But, like, this is ostensibly a very fun thing for us. It's rough when you've put in this much work, and the thing ends up not being fun at all. And this is one of those seeds. We had about an hour and what was it? 10 minutes? 12 hour and 12 minutes? I can't remember when you all first got into Topher, sometime around then, but like that, Rob Draven was keeping pace and doing well and making a lot of really great decisions. So just, it breaks your heart to see someone who is as good as Rob Draven struggle, because I think sometimes you just get stuck in that loop of like, I've tried this before and it's not working. Yeah.
I guess one of the things it can do is when you persevere through this, I mean, and it was rough for you, is it kind of builds your mental fortitude for the later seeds, to where if this happens, it's just like, maybe what clamps or just the way it rolls, everybody's having that kind of difficulty, and you still don't see anybody finish, and you just kind of have, it's like, you know what? I've been through this kind of adversity before. It's people have finished before me, though. I can go back in here. I can make the necessary changes I need to get through this next time, and get the win or finish close to the top, things like that.
Yeah, and I am happy to say that we are going to go ahead and pull Rob Draven in a little bit early. We're on a 10-minute delay, but Rob Draven has finished with an official time of 2 hours and 8 minutes. And after that slog of a Topher, Rob, I am just so happy to see that you are done. GG's on finishing. I'm sure it is not how you envisioned this last race going, but all the more power to you for sticking with just a brutal end game. So do you want to say a few words? How you feeling outside of horrible, I imagine?
Yeah. There are definitely some words I have for this scene, and none of them I can stream.
Yeah.
But really, I have to say that Topher has been my Achilles heel this entire tournament. Like 3 out of the 4 races, I could have. There's like a couple races where I could have podiumed if I hadn't run into a bad Topher, and then this one, obviously, this one was just going smooth as butter as soon as I got into go mode, and then Tiamat hit me.
Yeah.
And then he hit me again, and again, and then Chaos hit me up. So overall, though, it was a lot of fun. I will say that I blame Greg for this. This is the second one in 2 nights that he's slapped me with. But no, seriously though, it was a lot of fun. I can't say I'm not disappointed by what happened.
Yeah.
But really, this entire derby was a lot of fun. So no matter where I shake out, I'm very happy with the way I played. Sometimes the rando's gonna rando.
Yeah, I think you've got a great attitude about it. Like that is, I am salty as all get out when I have a bad Topher like that. And so the fact that you're even just like willing to come in here and say, yeah, I had fun and this didn't go the way that I wanted to, and like still talk to us and give us the interview that we want. That's I think that speaks to your character and to your fortitude. And certainly, one bad race doesn't take away from the fact what we all know, which is that you are an extremely good racer and someone that we're going to be watching out for in the spring tournament. All four of you are. We've said it a few times already, but you all went into Topher within a couple minutes of each other. The decision making, the progress, all very much there. Sometimes the rando hits you like that, and we saw on two screens, we saw it go very well. On two screens, we didn't. But again, GG's to you. I know that's not how you wanted to finish it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you're an extremely good runner. So congratulations on finishing up, and look forward to seeing you practice as we get ready for the spring tournament. Now, I do want to go ahead and make sure that we kind of give RPG Limit Break their channel back here in a few minutes as we get ready to watch Rob Draven's. I think this is likely your last run. Yeah, Darkmoon pointing that out in chat for us. Likely your last run going through Topher right now on screen. So I would love to give all of you guys some last minute thoughts about the Duckling Derby, about the spring tournament, about FFR before we go in. So Rob Draven, why don't we start with you? What are some of your final thoughts about the Duckling Derby, the boot camp, anything that you want to talk about as we get ready to close down?
Really, all I gotta say is the Derby was a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the spring tournament. In hindsight, after this race, I'm kind of glad I'm taking a little bit of time off. Let the winter dab do its thing.
Yeah.
Because this race, I will not lie that I was pretty salty there. But overall, though, this was a whole lot of fun. Seriously, if you want to learn how to play FFR, come to the Discord. The Duckling program is an amazing program, and you've seen it with everybody that you've seen racing on all the channels. There are a lot of really good players here, and there's a lot of really good experienced players who are there to help you out and do it. So just come and have fun with us. That's really all I can say about that.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob, and again, GG. Fright Teeth, if you're still sticking around, any final thoughts for the peanut gallery, for the folks who are watching us close out the race?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same things. I mean, the amount of help you get in this community is amazing. I've been here about 9 months, I think now. Just having a lot of fun. One other thing I'd add is that the developers for this randomizer are also amazing. The number of new things they add, how often they add things. It's just a blast overall.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And Dead Pulse, our tournament champion and second place overall finisher tonight. Any thoughts for the group as we head through the end of the Duckling Derby?
One of the things that helped me the most was actually the veterans doing the Duckling weeklies and being able to compare your times to theirs. And that kind of pushed me personally, and I know it helped a lot of other people, but to just see, okay, this is possible, I can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, it's fun for us too, because it gives us sort of that barometer of like, okay, have I improved? Like, when I was a duck and, my times were X, Y, and Z, or even remembering the first seed. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you for that. And last but not least, Guardian Marcus. You won first place overall tonight. What kind of thoughts do you have for us for the finale of the Duckling Derby?
Well, I mean, everything's been touched on already, but yeah, the community is great. The Duckling Boot Camp is amazing. It teaches you so much. It's great that we got to watch, Sir Link-a-Lot run a few runs. And yeah, like Deadpool said, like you learn so much watching the vets do the runs. And then the tournament as a whole is so much fun. I love the point system. It's great, and everybody's so patient with the ducklings. Some of us are learning to stream for the first time, and the patience is amazing. And I know everybody says their community is amazing, but this community is amazing, and I don't know what to say. These guys are great. So.
Awesome. Well, GG's to all of you. So in these closing couple minutes while we wait for Raven to get to that chaos kill, well deserved on stream, a few things that we'd like to talk about for the community. So obviously you have heard tonight so much about the Duckling Derby program. We do this twice a year just about, so we'll have another Duckling Derby program coming up for you in the summer or fall. But obviously what comes first is the spring tournament here in the next few months. That's going to be our big homecoming for all the runners who have been out for a while to come back and race through. So keep an eye on that. If you are new, we would love to have you for that as well. That is not just a veterans program. We take all comers. You are guaranteed a certain number of races as part of the spring tournament. Starts April 5th. So you've got a few months to work up to that. And we do have next week, Monday. Yeah, thank you, Dark Moon. Next Monday, it's telling us in private chat, we do have another little interstitial tournament. If this is something that you've never watched before, but Final Fantasy Randomizer interests you, we have the Winter Dab. It's a double anti-bingo in which two runners will have a certain list of tasks that they have to check off before they can finish the race. It is going to be a lot of fun. It's a super inventive way to get to experience FFR. We're going to have a reveal stream Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. right here on RPG Limit Break, so stay tuned for that. Thank you to Baron von Bowser in chat. Subscribe to the Prime for 39 months. Appreciate you supporting RPG Limit Break. We also have plenty of races. Sunday Night Hardcore, we have regular races returning probably next week or the week after. Monday nights and Thursday nights. Thursday nights at 10:30 on Speed Gaming. So again, plenty of opportunities for you to come out. We have lots of resources. Check the Final Fantasy Randomizer website. Come into the Discord. We'd be happy to tell you about all of those there as well. Thank you again to our tracker for sticking with us. That is going to be Sunflash Rune. Been in chat all night. Thank you. Thank you as well to Dark Moon EX for feeding me notes live as I'm reading word for word, is putting in our broadcast notes, and also restreaming for us. Dark Moon is a staple of this community. Restreams, I think, like half of the races that you see. So thank you to Dark Moon for continuing to support us. I have been Groggy Dog and Sir Linkalot with 40 seconds left before we see the final Chaos Kill. How about you give us final thoughts and close this out for the night?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the big thing I'd like to say is, for the newer players or the newer people that are wondering, it's like, hey, do I really want to get into this? This one's just ending, so there's plenty of time before the next Duckling boot camp. But if you don't have time to join the community right now or anything, and you're just, wondering, you can always join the Discord and, give yourself the Duckling role, and you'll get announcements for when the next one's coming up. And even if it gets to be the point where it's just like, hey, it's the week before the next Duckling boot camp, I haven't had enough time, or it's the day before it starts. I literally, my Duckling boot camp and my Duck Derby, I literally joined the Discord the day before it started. And I was like, hey, I'm going to join this just because I'm brand new. Maybe I'll learn some interesting things. And I didn't think I had any chance at placing high whatsoever in the Duck Derby, even as the weeks were going on. And then it just kind of happened. So you've got plenty of time to come in, learn before the next one, even if it's to where the next one starts and you want to pick up there. So don't be shy.
Okay, I think that'll do it for us. Thank you all again so much for coming out and hanging out with us. GG's to all of our runners, and we will see you very soon for Winter Dab and our weekly races. Have a great night, everybody.